big reason why they've been serving the community for 34 years. If you're looking to replace your flooring, schedule an appointment at championfloor.com. Champion Floor, delivering excellence every day.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
I keep fumbling for words when people ask me that. I've never had this much fun playing baseball in my entire life. I've never got to play for my country before, so I think that has a big reason behind why I'm having so much fun. Watching and listening to people chant USA the entire time you're playing baseball, that's a wild feeling, man. I've never had that before. Last night and tonight, two loudest crowds I've ever seen in baseball. I mean, it's just amazing what we're getting to be experiencing right now.
So that is Adam Wainwright from the World Baseball Classic after they defeated Cuba in the semifinals, and they go on. Is the championship game, Brad? Is the championship game tomorrow, or do they get a day?
I don't know offhand.
Mexico plays Japan tonight.
Yeah, and I think Mexico was a little miffed that their game got moved because they were hoping they would have the rest day.
Yeah, well, we win. We won the semifinal. We're going to the championship. We'll play Mexico or Japan. Mexico is the only team we've lost to in pool play, and Japan, our very own Lars Nootbaar, is playing for Japan along with Shohei Ohtani. And I just say, Lars, get Shohei Ohtani on the St. Louis Cardinals, and Adam Wainwright, just, make room for Mike Trout.
Right.
That's all there is.
Absolutely.
And St. Louis, your ticket prices are going to go up, but they're going to go up anyway, so you might as well get that for it. I'm bringing up the World Baseball Classic as the first thing on a Monday when the show starts, and you're like, but Annie, Donald Trump is about to get arrested. But Annie, Vladimir Putin is meeting with President Xi. But Annie, the economy continues to be in a very tenuous circumstance, and that's why I did it. That's why I did it, because, listen, what you just heard Adam Wainwright say there, this has been the most refreshing experience I've had with athletics in such a long time. Why? Adam Wainwright ended up saying it. I don't know if it was in this clip, but he ended up saying it, and I've watched all of the clips last night. I just kept watching and watching. He said, none of us are out here playing for money. We're out here playing for our country. That to me almost sounds old-timey. You know what I'm saying? That sounds to me like something my grandfather would have said, who fought in World War II in the Army. We're not out here playing for money. We're playing for our country. Okay, I get it. I understand all the people who are thinking, well, Annie, their profile is being raised, and they're trying to make a larger global market for baseball, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Set all of your cynicism aside for just 1 second. I'm telling you what, if I can do it, you can do it, because I don't know many more people who are more cynical than I am. Brad, you want to chime in on that?
No, I can confirm.
I'm so sorry. I'm skeptical. I'm cynical. I almost said sinister. I am not sinister. I am. That's different, Hannah. That's like me. That's like when you're like, I think we're all pretty conceited, and then 10 minutes later, I just looked up what conceited meant.
Yep, I'll never live that down.
Annie Frey Show. Conceited and sinister. Breaking ground in conservative talk radio. I am not somebody who has a positive outlook. I would say that I don't have a negative outlook. I would say that I have a realistic outlook, which looks pretty negative to people who have positive outlooks. I understand that. Brad is one of them. He's a bright spot. I am absorbing and living this moment where the United States is put in front of the world. The world is watching to whatever extent, playing great baseball, but seeing the players on the team proudly wear the Stars and Stripes on the front of their jersey. And to play for that. And every single time every time they have the opportunity to go in front of a camera and say that they're so proud to be playing for this team and representing their country, I look around my everyday life when I'm grocery shopping, when I am, pumping gas at the gas station, when I'm picking up my kids, when I am dropping my kids off, when we're going to sporting events all over the place. And I'm wondering how many people who I'm surrounded by in any of those instances are that day doing whatever it is that they are doing, proud of their country. I don't know that you, in the last, it's probably more than 15 years. It's probably about 15 years. 15 years from 2008 and President Obama's billion-dollar campaign cycle that elected him president on the premise of fundamentally transforming the United States of America. Do you remember the patriotic blood pressure that you had post 9/11? Do you remember agreeing with people on something that superseded all of the different things in your life that you disagreed upon? Post 9/11, you didn't all of the sudden say, no, I absolutely think we should tax the heck out of the rich and make them pay their fair share. If you weren't that guy on September 10th, you weren't that guy on September 12th. You weren't the type of person who said, oh no, for sure, you've been right this whole time. We should confiscate people's guns. No, women should have a choice as to whether or not they end the life of the growing baby, the life in their womb. You've been right about this the whole time. You didn't go to the other side of the aisle and just agree. You probably disagreed as much as you ever had on a whole host of issues, but there was just something that blanketed all of those disagreements that made them secondary to the primary understanding that this country is a place where freedom makes its last stand. This country and all of the wealth that it has and that it creates is something to be celebrated, to be protected, to be preserved, and to be invested in. This country, the United States of America, is great. That, in many ways, is just a frame of mind. Because the country is what it is. Go back to my cynicism, my ability to assess any situation and every single possible downside that could come of it, and a few upsides, but if that happens, I'll just figure that out when it lands. But if I'm looking at something, if I'm looking at an issue that's facing our country, if I'm looking at a political fight that's taking place in our country, if I'm looking at a problem that Republicans and Democrats together assess and address and come up with completely different solutions to solve it, I can always come up with pretty much an infinite, never-ending pursuit of different outcomes that could be negative, that would cause me to steer my thinking in a different direction. And that involves adding in people's perspectives that might be completely different than mine, lived experiences that might be completely different than mine. I always want to understand, how could somebody think so incredibly differently than I do? I can have incredible clarity about how I feel a certain problem should be solved, and somebody else has that same level of clarity about how a problem should be solved, and it's a completely different way of solving that said problem. How can those things be true? Well, on September 12th, we collectively understood that there was Tier A problems and there were Tier B problems. And in the United States of America, we are blessed with the ability to have such differing opinions and the right and actually obligation and responsibility to fight and bicker over them to come up with a solution, because you get the best solutions that way. I'm thinking about September 11th, 2001, into about 2003, 2004, when we engaged in conflict overseas. My dearest friends had signed up after the towers were hit to serve in their military, to fight for their country, they said, there's something here we're fighting for. There's something here worth defending. And collectively as a country, for a few years, we wrapped our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts and our goodwill and our action around supporting those people. It's been a slow burn since then. There's been a disintegration in the idea, not that America is great, but that America should even be protected, that the idea of America should be something to be celebrated. And was it Ronald Reagan, Brad, or was it Abraham Lincoln? It was Abraham Lincoln who said that America, the only enemy that could destroy America would be from within. That was Lincoln.
Lincoln, and then Reagan quoted him.
I'm sure he did. Smart man. We can go fight overseas. We can protect freedom elsewhere. We can invest in protecting freedom elsewhere. We can do all these sorts of things. But in the meantime, we are destroying the thing that is the greatest right here on our own land. The thing that protects our entire institution, the idea of law and order, is being destroyed from within. A sense of moral understanding and agreement is being destroyed from within. The issues go on and on and on and on. The disagreements are the most important thing in our lives. They're more important than family and friends, than faith, than just well-intended conversations. The most important thing in American culture right now is being politically, publicly seen as being on the right side. And people are starting to push back on that. I don't understand how it got to this place so quickly. I don't understand or know how rapidly we can continue into a descent. Where is rock bottom? But I do know that when people come together to play a game of baseball, to not play for money, but to play for the United States of America, and Adam Wainwright gets the opportunity to go in front of a camera and say, I'm in this stadium. It's the loudest stadium I've ever been in. Now, I've been in some loud stadiums during the playoffs when Adam Wainwright was pitching, and it's something to behold. But for him to talk about the honor and responsibility and the joy he feels from wearing USA across his jersey, and while you're on the field playing Cuba, and there are protesters demanding libertad, demanding liberty, because of what it means to exist in Cuba, and you're watching those Cubans who are participating in this game, the people who are cheering them on, people who have been liberated from Cuba who are participating in this in Miami, and you are seeing people understand the true value of freedom and liberty. And the chants of USA all across that stadium, what does that mean to those individuals? Something different to each and every single one of them. But you chant USA together. That's what makes us great. That's what makes us strong. And I don't see anywhere else outside of politics where people are so willingly and joyfully chanting USA. Which is why I'm telling you, you need to watch this championship game. Now that I'm pushing everybody to it in my negative, cynical attitude, I'm assuming we'll get our butts kicked in the championship. But the pride is still there. The opportunity for victory is still there. And I'm talking about the country. I'm not talking about baseball. I'm talking about what it means to wave an American flag, to paint your face red, white, and blue, to chant USA, to come together with people who believe the most differing things because they come from the most differing walks of life, to come together and freely shout and praise the name of the country that represents all of you. That is an amazing thing. And it's unfolding in front of our eyes. And then it'll be over. Then we'll go back to our normal way of life. We'll have an election season. We will go through the bickering and the nastiness that takes place during that part of our democratic republic. But if we have an opportunity to show people who are proud of this country, who are proud to wear those red, white, and blue stars and stripes, I am all about it. We're going to take a quick break. One of those things that has a lot of people in this country on edge. Donald Trump going to get arrested tomorrow? What's the situation? How serious is it? What is this really all about? The YouTube live chat poll today, if you go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, come say hi. Would love to see you there. Who will be convicted of a crime first? President Trump, President Biden, or neither? Go vote. Tell us why you voted the way you did. And to get to the bottom of this pending arrest of Donald Trump, Hogan Gidley on the Annie Frey Show with America First Policy Institute. When we come back, don't go away.
4 months until our paths crossed again.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Baby, bring the lemon and a bottle of gin. We'll be in between the sheets till the late a.m. Baby, if you wanted me, then you should have just said she's singing. Don't win my...
So let's talk about the event tomorrow night. I'm going to be there. Are you? Have you reserved your spot yet? Go online to retirementkey.com and reserve your spot for the Protecting Your Retirement educational event tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. at the Frontenac Hilton. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything to go. You get to sit and listen. He doesn't even speak for more than 45 minutes. It's very quick. It's painless. You listen, and then you decide if you want to meet with him again to talk more personally about what your situation is with your retirement. There are snacks, and Mark Reardon and Mark Cox are going to be there as well. I get there around 6 o'clock, but the event starts at 6:30 at the Frontenac Hilton, and all you have to do is call or go to the website to sign up. The phone number to reserve your spot, 314-993-9494. 314-993-9494. Reserve your spot today. Mention the Annie Frey Show when you call and come see me. I'll be there, like I said, starting at 6 o'clock, and I'll meet as many people as I can between 6 and 6:30. The event starts at 6:30. Cannot wait to see you there. Online at retirementkey.com.
When you have Rhino Shield on your house, it does a couple of things for you. It beautifies the house, and it protects it from the harshest elements. And boy, do we see those here in the greater St. Louis area. You get instant curb appeal. It will stick to anything. Rhino Shield is the answer, no matter whether you're painting a home or a church or a business or a condo, because it's 100% waterproof. It takes care of the outdoor maintenance on whatever is on the outside of your home. The brick, the block, aluminum, steel, stucco. They can put this on with the 2 to 3 coat process. They're there about a week, and they do a great job. A lot of businesses have done it in the area. Several Firestones have done that. Vantage Credit Union over the years. Harlan Packaging down in DeSoto. Call Darren today and schedule your free estimate. 877-25-RHINO. Easy to remember phone number. Or go online today at 877-25rhino.com.
If you own a home in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes stlouis.com at 314-782-8000 and get your cash offer without any obligation, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant homes, inherited homes, fixer-uppers, beautiful homes, even the tenant who won't pay the rent apartment. Google us. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out our best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move according to your schedule and your terms. Go to our website, chrisbuyshomes.stlouis.com, or call Chris at 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000, and get the offer you've been waiting for. 314-782-8000.
Hi, my name is Martin Winslow, founder and president of Bethlehem Christian Academy. Join us on our mission to be the hands and feet of Jesus and reach the nations with the gospel. Support BCA's ministry in transforming lives by feeding and educating poor and orphan children in some of the poorest places in Africa and South Asia. BCA's ministry not only provides physical bread to these hungry children, but also spiritual bread through the Word of God. Here's how you can help. For just $36 a month, you can offer these kids hope of a better future, but more importantly, give them the opportunity to learn about Christ. You can also join us on a mission trip to one of our several school locations overseas and meet the child you sponsor. To find out more about how you can get involved with BCA's ministry, please visit bcaministries.com.
Cast your vote where it really matters. Local school boards. The Save Our Schools rally is Tuesday, March 28th. Come meet the candidates who align with your values. Go to 971talk.com/events and join us March 28th, 5 to 8 p.m. at Winty's in Chesterfield.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Falling he goes, and he cries all night. And slowly he thinks, can't wait for another. Tearing his soul, he screams inside. He says, I'm only while I
Well, one would say that Bragg is outside of his lane, but in this case, he's on a completely different highway. I mean, this is an effort by a state official to effectively prosecute a federal crime, a crime that the Department of Justice decided not to prosecute.
So Alvin Bragg is going to bring Donald Trump to justice. And like the prize trophy kill of a hunter, it seems like this would be, no pun intended, hunter. Anyway, I digress. The idea that Donald Trump would finally be taken in handcuffs and walked in front of the cameras, is that not what it's all about? Well, what is it all about? Is he really in trouble? Is this just political? We ask a guy who understands these types of things. Hogan Gidley joins us once again, America First Policy Institute's Senior Advisor for Communications. Welcome back, Hogan. Great to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate the time.
Of course. When you heard Donald Trump's True Social post or read it or heard from him or however you came across it, I'm going to be arrested Tuesday. What'd you think?
Look, I think this is a culmination of a 7-year-long effort to try and attack Donald Trump, to smear him. And remember, they went after him before he was president, while he was president, and of course now after he was president. And of course, it didn't stop there. It was his staff, it was his campaign, it was his family. So this is just relentless. And remember, all Donald Trump did was run for president and win. I mean, other than that, they thought he was amazing. They thought he was wonderful in the state of New York and the city of New York. And now they just want to smear him and attack him. It's all about trying to prevent him from winning. The problem is, he spiked in popularity to highs above 50% for the first time pretty much ever around August of last year. You remember what happened in August of last year? It was a raid on Mar-a-Lago. So the people out there watching going, wait a minute, I don't care who you are, Democrat, Republican, white, black, male, female, if you're wrongly accused of something, if the government's weaponized against you, we're going to stand up and support you because that could be us as well. I think the American people, once they get over the shock of whatever images come out of this whole situation, whether it be a mugshot or Donald Trump being walked somewhere in handcuffs, I think they're going to stand back and go, wait a minute. So they're going after him for what? A crime that's not to be adjudicated at the state level, but it's a federal crime. And, of course, they're using who? Michael Cohen, someone who's disgraced, someone who admitted lying to Congress, who's already been convicted himself. And it's a 7-year deal, so it's past the statute of limitations as well. Like, wait a minute, I'm confused. What's the problem here? And I think people, once the dust settles, they're going to be a little scared for themselves, and they're going to be angry at the fact that the government, we now know, has been weaponized against Donald Trump, has been weaponized against other American citizens, private citizens as well. And the more we find out about these things, the more scared people should be.
Hogan, when you talk about how the government has weaponized against Donald Trump, you've kind of articulated this already, but Donald Trump represents his voters. He represents people like me. So if the government's been weaponized against him, isn't that a political use of the government to be weaponized against people who just don't believe what those people who control that power believe?
100%. This is clearly going after a man who leads polling for the Republican nomination again and could be elected president again. And they don't like that. After all, it was Donald Trump who gave a voice to the voiceless for the years he was in office. It was Donald Trump who made good on campaign promises, which is something that, of course, never happens for anyone who gets elected to most offices, much less president. And he stood up and said he was going to drain the swamp. And he did a lot of that, put a lot of sunlight in areas that hadn't seen those rays of brightness for quite some time. And it's pretty ugly down there. And so now when we see things like the Twitter files, we see things like the full J6 video, we see things exposing a lot of what the left's doing on critical race theory, on transing our kids. The left hates transparency, and Donald Trump brought some of that. And as he says consistently, they're coming after you. I'm just standing in the way. That is 100% true, and that's how a lot of people in this country feel. And so when someone like Donald Trump gets elected and gives a voice to the voiceless, then all bets are off when it comes to the politics involved on the blowback. And he's going to expose them for what they are and really kind of stand up for those out there who have been rejected, who've been cast aside, who've been ridiculed, who've been mocked, and quite frankly, who have not been listened to for decades.
Hogan, is this an act of desperation by the left, or do they think they have the goods?
Both.
Okay.
I would say it's an act of desperation because the guy's got nothing. I mean, even the DOJ, I think the clip you played when you set up my segment, the DOJ didn't go after this. Merrick Garland didn't go after this, for heaven's sakes. So he's got nothing. So it's absolutely politically motivated. But it is an act of desperation because for whatever reason, you know, I used to think Trump derangement syndrome was like a joke we on the right would use to kind of mock the left. I think they're going to write medical journals on it one day. I mean, these people have lost their minds, and it's all because one man was elected president and stripped away their power and threatened their fiefdoms that they've been building and protecting for years in this country.
Yeah.
So I think it absolutely is just kind of a last-minute ditch effort to try and tarnish a man who's done so much good for this country.
Listen to John Bolton's reaction to it.
If they indict and fail to convict in New York, I think historians would look back and say that is the act that reelected Donald Trump president. So I hope those prosecutors in New York are very, very certain of their case.
Well, you're a master of communications for sure. You've worked with this president, both in his administration and also with his reelection campaign. What happens as this whole thing is unfolding? How does the Trump campaign take what they're doing right now and turn it into what John Bolton's saying, which is his bid for reelection?
Well, you know, I've also worked with John Bolton because he was in the White House too, and I did a lot of work with him as well. No fan of Donald Trump, no question about that. But look, I think if we're being honest here, the politics line up for Bragg to continue this push because it is New York. Chances are he gets a sympathetic judge, he gets sympathetic jurors, et cetera, et cetera. So it's all about the smear tactic and the public humiliation. But the problem, as we've discussed, is that there's going to be a blowback for that. There will be a retribution for that politically, and it could be the reelection of Donald Trump. And I do think John Bolton is correct there, that this is the thing that will martyr Donald Trump in a way that I don't know the left can survive or come back from because so many people are going to be paying attention to this. Obviously, the left and the media won't be able to help themselves with running wall to wall on these stories all day long and in print and online and on their TV cable channels, et cetera. And then when it ends up eventually falling flat and not going anywhere at a different, court level as it gets appealed or whatever, these guys are going to look pretty stupid again going after him when he's done nothing wrong by all accounts, at least to this point.
Yeah. Accusation after accusation. They get all of the press out of it. They get to be super dramatic on the very predictable news outlets and make it a story. The outcome is never the story, and the outcome never goes their way. So they get they get another news cycle out of it, I suppose.
The most overused word in the entire Trump administration by the press was the word bombshell. Every day there was a bombshell in Russia. A bombshell in impeachment, a bombshell on a phone call every day, and none of it stuck because none of it was true. But as you just said, and that's a really good point, it doesn't matter because the accusation is what they want. They don't care if it actually comes to fruition. There's a reason that the ACLU, for example, has a horrible win case rate in all the lawsuits they file. They don't care about the victory. They just want to stop the advancement of free speech. They just want to stop conservatives in their tracks and tie them up in court. The same thing applies here. The win ultimately doesn't matter. It's what they want to do to him politically, what they want to do to smear his name, and as I mentioned, his companies, his friends, his staff, his family as well.
Yeah, there's great political capital in that journey, and there's probably a fundraising dollar or two laying around for the people who are looking to raise that as well. Before I let you go, you are the Senior Advisor for Communications with the America First Policy Institute, and we're getting ready to go into what we assume will be a very rigorous and dramatic Republican primary. Donald Trump, who has been your boss, is the godfather of America First. And the idea of America First has, to a testament to him and to you and to all the people who served under this mindset, it's grown bigger than him now, which is, I assume, what he would have wanted it to do. He's running for president. There are other people who subscribe to the America First mentality. How do we get through the Republican primary? Do what you got to do in a primary. It's going to be nasty. It's part of the process. How do we get through it so that, be it Joe Biden, Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, I don't know, whomever, that we beat them in November 2024?
Well, look, I think because I do work at the America First Policy Institute, and it's a C3, so we can't, advocate. We can only educate. We're not talking about politics on our side. It's more about the policy. But that's what's so interesting, because we don't have to point all the way back to Reagan to say, look at all these great policies we had back in the 80s. We had these things 2 years ago. And what we're seeing right now is a total repudiation and rejection of policies that improve the lives of all Americans, regardless of race, religion, color, or creed, by the left. They don't like those policies. They don't like people to succeed on their own. They like to have the government be the determining factor of success. So regardless of who emerges as the victor and the eventual nominee for the Republican side, they're going to be pushing America First policies because those policies are supported by 80% of the people. It's not even close. All the things we're talking about with election integrity and with China and with fatherlessness in the homes and with the southern border and with the economy, people love that stuff. But the left, Gavin Newsom, Joe Biden, Kamala, Pothole Pete, the whole group reject all of that. Instead, they're gravitating toward and embracing radical, woke, left ideology that has done nothing but tear people apart and has hurt the futures of families in this country and generations to come. So I think regardless of who it is, we're going to be in really good shape from a policy standpoint. We got to sell it still, but poll after poll shows that we're on the right side of these issues and they're on the wrong side.
Yeah, amen to that. The substance is on the right side. And when this administration currently, their number one way to make a policy is, what did Trump do? Let's do the opposite. And now here's what you have because of that. It's got to be a winning message in 2024.
Right. And here's the funny part. Joe Biden always acts like these things are just happening to him, but they're happening because of him. They're his policies. And so when you come in day one and brag about, watch what I'm going to do at the border, we're getting rid of Safe Third, we're getting rid of, we're going to put back in catch and release. We're not going to deal with these other nations. We're going to leave the border open. And then all these things happen. He throws his hands up. He's like, I don't know how we stop drugs pouring in here. I don't know how we stop human trafficking or child smuggling. Well, you just made all those things happen because you reversed all the policies. You bragged about it.
Yeah.
This was your big deal on quote unquote day one, overturning all the executive orders. And now you have a mess on your hands. It's your fault. And we got to hold them to account.
Donald Trump, among many of the other candidates, do have a plan and a know-how to make those things stop. And I cannot wait to see the primary and see how it goes, and to hopefully win in 2024 and get this country back on track. America first, for sure. Hogan, thank you so much for the time today. Always great to have you.
Anytime. Thanks so much.
All right, bye-bye. Hogan Gidley, America First Policy Institute Senior Advisor for Communication. He is also the former National Press Secretary for the Trump campaign and the former Principal Deputy Press Secretary for the Trump administration. If you want to tell him hello and thanks for coming on the show, at J. Hogan Gidley on Twitter. When we come back, Ryan Wiggins in studio with something that he just can't stop talking about, and that's marriage advice. He loves to give marriage advice. 25 common gaslighting phrases used in relationships. Maybe this even blends out of marriages. Maybe this blends into like coworkers. I don't know. Gaslighting phrases used in relationships, Hannah?
I don't know what to expect here.
Well, let's just all pull up a chair for Wiggins America when we come back. Don't go away.
Be so strong, why don't you let me go? I've been in weakness and I'm hungry.
Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Well, I can't run away, why don't you let me go? Say I know.
CAJonesInc.com, improving lives through quality homes and community involvement. One of the things that I'm very proud to associate myself with CA Jones is how in tune they are to support the communities that they're building up with these beautiful homes. If you go to CAJonesInc.com right now, you'll see the different layouts that they have, and you can use the home builder tool on there to visualize what it is that you are going to potentially build with them. They are proud military and first responder supporters. They put action behind those words. They are offering veterans, active, and first responders specials on new homes and solar and remodels. CAJonesInc.com is the website, and they provide Energy Star certified homes, builders they have the best energy efficiency around. They are very dedicated to helping you with solar capacity, and anytime right now that you can use something like that that's going to help maybe lower those monthly energy costs and make it so that you are more confident and comfortable in your ability to provide energy for yourself. CA Jones is behind all of that. If you want to learn more about building a home in Illinois, go to CAJonesInc.com.
If you want to see better in the new year, there's no better time to call Brenton Vision than right now. Mark Cox here. My friends at Brenton have everything you need to get the crisp, clear vision you've always wanted. Call them at 314-375-2020 or go online today to BrentonVision.com. They are the only team in Missouri to perform all 7 FDA-approved forms of vision correction. That includes modern LASIK, permanent contact lenses, and if you have bad reading vision, they even have treatments for you too. So stop throwing your money away. My wife got lens replacement. She sees perfectly these days, and she loves it. Quit putting it off. If it's standing in your way of achieving your goals and your resolutions, Brenton Vision is here to help. Call them today at 314-375-2020. Tell them you heard Mark Cox talking about it. That's 314-375-2020. Or schedule right now at BrentonVision.com.
If you own a small business, you know the value of time. GetRefunds.com does too. That's why they've made it easy, no matter how busy you are, to apply for the Employee Retention Credit, or ERC. Go to Refunds.com to get started, and in less than 8 minutes, see if your business qualifies for ERC assistance. Your business may be eligible for a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee kept on payroll during COVID-19. GetRefunds.com has already helped clients claim over $3 billion in payroll tax refunds through the ERC, and they may be able to help your business too. There's no upfront charge either. They don't get paid until your business gets its refund. Many businesses believe they won't qualify based on incomplete or outdated information. So don't let this opportunity pass you by, because this payroll tax refund is only available for a limited time. Go to GetRefunds.com. That's GetRefunds.com.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. With warmer spring temperatures, hang your clothes to dry outside instead of using the dryer. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
The Med Spa at the Institute of Natural Health understands how difficult it is to maintain healthy skin and how much this can affect someone's life. With the right combination of treatments and products, they can help you keep your skin looking healthy and more youthful, while also reducing and preventing damage. Take your first step towards healthy skin at the Med Spa at the Institute of Natural Health. Visit them at inhstl.com or call to schedule at 314-293-8123. That's 314-293-8123.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service offers insulation services. Did you know 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated? Increase your energy savings and comfort with better insulation. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Happy anniversary to Bob Stockdale, host of On the Money. This week, On the Money is celebrating 20 years on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. This is the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Today's YouTube live chat poll. Have you joined us over there yet? Come say hi. Want to meet you. And Hannah is waiting for your comments on today's YouTube live chat poll. She stars them. She's going to feature her favorites at 2:45 with the results of this poll. Who will be convicted of a crime first? Convicted of a crime first. President Trump, President Biden, or neither? Convicted, not charged. Not, all the pomp and circumstance behind threats. Who's going to be convicted first? Trump, Biden, or neither of them? Go into the Annie Frey YouTube channel. We are broadcasting live there as we do each day. And you can vote in the live chat portion. If you're streaming us live on the Odyssey app, you can win Guns N' Roses tickets. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep, Guns N' Roses tickets, and they're going to be at Busch Stadium, which is super cool.
Ooh. For every hour that you stream us on the Odyssey app?
Yeah, you get one entry.
You get one entry. What if you just listen to the Annie Frey Show over and over and over again?
I'm assuming it doesn't say continuous
does it have to be
hours.
live?
I don't think so. I think it's just for every hour that you listen.
Odyssey, AUDACY. Download the app. Follow 97.1 FM Talk there. And that is how you can stream the station live all of the time and also listen to this show. So if you didn't get to hear Hogan Gidley at 12:25 talk about the Trump arrest, you're going to want to rewind that and then listen to the whole thing.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins!
Hi, Ryan.
Good Monday to you. How are you doing? Good day.
Good day. Goodbye.
And we're done. Great. Good segment.
All right.
If you were tuning in on the app, you were still logged in and you got a chance to win, but we are going to cut this short because it's terrible.
Whoa.
No, it's not. I'm just kidding.
Are you gaslighting here?
I am. That's exactly what I was doing. Good job. I am using gaslighting phrases because that is the topic of this discussion. These are commonly used gaslighting phrases in relationships. Now, this comes from marriage.com, but I took the liberty
Define gaslighting.
Sure.
I don't think this is a term that I think a lot of people use, and I don't think a lot of people understand.
I am in that camp. I hear it all the time, and I always have to remind myself what that actually means. Here is what it means. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation where, in this case, one partner in a relationship deliberately makes the other one question their own sanity or perception of events.
I'm always questioning my sanity.
Yeah. So you're constantly being gaslighted by at least one of us. What I have here, though, are phrases used in relationships, not necessarily in politics, although it is common in politics as well. I've categorized these in 3 different categories. The article didn't do this, but I did it because I felt like you had ones that I would never, ever consider using, and I don't really know anybody who would. And even if you have, you go, that was the wrong thing to do. Then you have this middle category of ones that they say, don't do this, but we all kind of maybe dip into them a little bit. And then the third one is ones that I'm like, how is that even gaslighting? I do that every day.
Boy. Here we go. Let's go. Let's get to it. Let's hear what they are.
Here's the first ones. Now, these are the ones that I'm assuming nobody here, although correct me if I'm wrong, if you've not done these. Number 1.
Wait.
Yeah.
We're saying if.
I'm assuming that you haven't done this.
Are we admitting to these?
But you can admit to them if you have.
So basically what you're saying, have you done these?
Are you a gaslighter? Yes or no?
Are you hard gaslighting somebody? Because that's what these are.
Here we go. Self-reflection.
This is why no one likes you.
I don't think I've ever said that.
I think I've said that to my sister when I'm mad at her.
Oh.
This is why you don't have friends.
That one actually is also on the list. Actually, it's your friends are idiots.
Keep going.
Your friends are idiots. How about I think you need help? Anybody ever said that in an argument anytime?
No, we're all still living.
Yeah. No, I don't think I've ever
The
said
key,
that.
too, is that this is said in an argument.
Yes.
This is said intended to hurt somebody.
Yes. Yeah, most of these are.
Like if you said to somebody who really needs help, I think you need help. That's not what this is.
No,
or
this
if you
is,
say it as a joke.
This is in the heat of a real discussion or argument. How about I won't tolerate lies? just seems a little harsh.
I think that's funny because, like, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah. No. Okay.
This one certainly I've never, ever said and was told even before marriage, don't ever say. You need to lose weight.
Ooh. Yeah, don't say that.
Yeah. Last one here.
I don't understand. Okay. Like, are we fighting about something someone said when they were drinking on Saturday night and you're like, yeah, well, you need to lose weight? Or again, is it in a...
I think it's more like manipulation. And this is saying to create dependence, they'll often resort to criticizing your physical appearance so that the victim feels wrong about themselves. The last one in this category, anyway, is if you're lucky, I'll forgive you.
What?
Ooh.
Right?
No, these are just crap people.
I think so. Now we get into a little bit more of the gray.
No offense if you're
On the
listening and
fence.
you're one of these crap people.
Hey, if
Thanks
you're
for
listening and you've said these, stop. Don't do that.
You're a
Wait,
gaslighter.
no, if you're listening and you're one of those crap people, take offense.
I want to
You're
hear the
crap
iffy
people.
ones.
Okay, these ones are kind of in the middle here. Ones that I've never said this specific phrase, but yes, you're supposed to love me unconditionally. The sentiment may exist. Anybody care to chime in on that
No.
one? Okay. The problem isn't with me, it's in you. No? All right. Man, I don't feel like a jerk now. I'm not saying I haven't said these things. I'm not angry. What are you talking about? Now, this is when you're
not angry. What are you talking
you're being quiet. You're doing the silent treatment, and they're like, "Are you angry?" And you're like, "No, I'm not angry."
Oh.
What are you talking about?
I wouldn't have seen that as gaslighting.
Not if you're not angry.
No.
If you're not angry, then it's fine. But if you are, and you're saying, "No, I'm not angry," and you're sort of flipping the situation back on them, that's when they say it's gaslighting. Last one in this category, you're way too emotional.
Ooh, it's a great. You should all say that to your wife tonight.
Woo!
Again, I've never said that phrase.
You shouldn't.
And I won't.
Don't
Ryan,
do it.
you keep saying, I haven't said these out loud, but I think all of them.
Well, there are times that I'm like, hey,
Is that what he's doing?
this is a little bit inappropriate, out of line a little bit.
A little?
Yeah, a little bit.
Go home and tell your wife she's being way too emotional.
I've communicated that.
Ryan. That was the wrong idea.
Well, that's what the article says. It agrees
Is that
with
what Miss Wiggins said?
you. No, I haven't run these by her.
No? She get real quiet and you go, what's wrong with you? Why are you saying it? I'm not angry. What's wrong with you?
Why are you so emotional?
Yeah.
When we do the Wiggins America segment at home tonight, I'll share some of these.
Is that her segment?
Yeah.
He's going to lead off.
Every night she gets a rebuttal to what I do
He's
here.
going to lead off. You're supposed to love me unconditionally.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
Yeah. Now, these are ones that I felt like this isn't even gaslighting in a lot of situations. This one says, that was never my intention. Stop blaming me. So if your intentions are misconstrued, that to me seems like something you would want to correct.
Well, you can apologize for something that you intended one way being received another. It's important to understand and recognize that you did hurt somebody and to be genuinely apologetic for it. And depending on the gravity of the situation, explaining your intentions is only helpful if the explanation of the intentions alleviates the hurt that was felt in the first place. If you're just doing it so that you can clear yourself,
And that's kind of in the same vein as this one. Let's start over from square one. That to me is actually a really good thing to do a lot of times, unless you're the one at fault and you're saying, you know what, let's just wipe the slate.
Yeah, there's a lot of assumptions being made by these comments.
Yeah, I agree. These all fall in the same category here. You're just making this up. That never happened. Stop exaggerating the situation. Those are situations that if you're in an argument, somebody may be saying things that are not true that you have to say, hang on a second now, that never happened. These to me seem like very common things. The last one, you are just misconstruing my intentions. Again, that one speaks more to intentions about why you're even having the discussion, which to me seems like something you would want to get out in the open. Perfect marriage advice for me once again, and your problems are solved. Listen on the Odyssey app. You can take it home to your wife and
Did you
kids.
read this as like a list of suggestions?
Yes.
Recommendations?
I did.
Man, you should create a video of this for us tonight when you go home and have these conversations with your wife.
Yeah. If it's hidden camera, I'd get in trouble.
No,
If it's
you can't.
open
No,
camera,
no,
I'd get in
no,
trouble.
no,
I just
no,
don't
no.
know.
Well, just talk to her about it first. Say we're going to talk about some things. Can I video you? It's for the show.
Let's set one up here and one up here so you can see my reaction and your reaction.
Stick around in the 1 o'clock hour at 1:25. Tomi Lahren joins the Annie Frey Show. You're not going to want to miss this. Join us on the Odyssey app as well and vote in the YouTube poll. Right back in a minute.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Frey, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, March 21st at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Seats are limited, so go online to retirementkey.com. Here's Thomas with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and sick of losing so much money in your retirement accounts? Did you know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your 401k tax-free and protect your nest egg from any more losses and still generate more income than most investment options? Would you like to know how linking to the market instead of owning the market is so much safer for your retirement nest egg? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you don't want to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, Tuesday, March 21st at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Well, Andrea's steak sauce and Andrea's salad dressing have been around for years. They're St. Louis staples, especially their steak sauce. It's internationally known. Like this, White House gets a case every year. People who know how to make steak love Andrea's steak sauce. And it's made right here in St. Louis. So most people around this area know about it. It's not too often that I get to share that a brand new sauce has been made. That one's been here since about 1978. I don't know about publicly, probably early 80s. But they now have a barbecue sauce. That is a much more crowded environment, so there aren't quite as many steak sauces to compete with. But with barbecue sauce, you go in the store, you're going to see 100 of them, and there's 100 more waiting to get in. Well, Andrea's has created a barbecue sauce that I was a little nervous. I thought, are they going to be able to really break in this market? It is fantastic, and I order barbecue sauce from all over the world because I love it that much. Andrea's has nailed it. Try their barbecue sauce. You can get any of their sauces at area grocery stores or at andreas.com.
You wouldn't trust a butcher to babysit your pet pig. You wouldn't trust a lumberjack to repair your antiques. Or a professional wrestler to be your massage therapist. So why would you trust anyone but AMCO to fix your car? For over 50 years, we've been the trusted experts in transmission repair.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
AAMCO.
Start your Amazon business.
Hi, Ian Bauer. My first year averaged $45,000 a month in sales. Now I'm at $90,000 a month and hardly working.
In 2020, Americans made $50 billion selling on Amazon. Join America's Amazon expert, Dylan Frost, where everyone can learn how to start an Amazon business for only $49.99 guaranteed or your money back. 2-hour seminar Tuesday, March 28th at 2 p.m. for the greater St. Louis area. Register at wholesaleformula.com. That's wholesaleformula.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Meetings underway for the possible indictment of a former president. Lisa Brady, Fox News. It would be a first if former President Trump is arrested in the Manhattan DA's probe of hush money payments in 2016. A source telling Fox News several branches of law enforcement are meeting, but no specific timing has been discussed.
The former president's attorney says Trump will surrender if he's indicted and follow, quote, normal procedures.
Fox's Brian Yanis, that could include a negotiated time for surrender, fingerprints, mugshot, DNA test, arraignment, and possible perp walk.
The NYPD unloaded barriers outside of the Manhattan courthouse, and an intra-agency security meeting is taking place today to discuss the security preparations. A source tells Fox News they expect the Secret Service to say they would prefer a possible arraignment take place virtually.
Trump has called for protests over what he describes as a witch hunt. House Republican Conference Chair Elise Stefanik.
This is a political witch hunt perpetrated by one of the far-left radical socialist district attorneys in Alvin Bragg.
The New York Congresswoman says Bragg should testify before the Select Committee on the Weaponization of the federal government. President Biden celebrating the Persian New Year.
As we celebrate new beginnings, Jill and I, along with Kamala and Doug, are honored to host a new national tradition.
During the event, also paying tribute to the people of Iran and vowing to hold Iranian officials accountable for attacks against their people. He's also pledging again to keep working to bring home all Americans unjustly detained. This after the release of aid worker Jeff Woodkey with Niger's help. He was held hostage by a terrorist group for 6 years. Earlier, President Biden's first veto overruling a bill he says would have required financial managers to ignore environmental, social, and governance factors on investments. Critics voted to repeal a Labor Department rule arguing it shouldn't be mandatory to consider those issues. America is listening to Fox News.
Kids across America are going to school hungry. Millions of kids every day. Hungry kids get sick more often and can struggle in school. It can be harder for them to focus and learn. But one simple thing can help change all of this for a hungry child in America. Good, healthy food and the energy it brings. With help from caring people across America, No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures.
We want to ensure that all of our kids have healthy meals every day.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping feed our kids.
To learn more about ending child hunger in America, go to helpnokidhungry.org today.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Temperatures starting to flip on us this afternoon. Windy and warmer, lots of sunshine, 58 for the high. Tonight, more and more clouds, windy and 35. Tuesday, periods of rain, strong gusty winds, 49. It's chilly on Tuesday, and actually by late in the day Tuesday, we'll drop back to 40 degrees. Very wet Tuesday night with periods of rain and strong winds. This is 97.1 FM Talk, Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Guns N' Roses is coming to Busch Stadium on September 9th, and every hour you log into the Odyssey app, you'll be entered to win. Between now and March 26, stream 97.1 on your device, and you could win tickets to see Guns N' Roses.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Hi, this is Arnold, owner of the Good Feet store. Do you have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning because of a sharp pain in your heel?
I did. I had plantar fasciitis. I had a burning sensation on the bottom of my feet. I went to the Good Feet store, and what a relief. And now I never go without my Good Feet support.
Are your knees and back killing you by the end of the day?
It was getting so severe I almost stopped walking. I have no problems with my knees now. I couldn't believe how fast it helped me.
You deserve a better life too. Come to the Good Feet store today.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive west of I-270 in the plaza with Subway, or in Shiloh, Illinois across from Deerbergs.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Pain relief and comfort to fit any budget. Come in for a free test walk today. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA.
So Stewart's American Mortgage is where you can get the bagel loan. And the thing that I appreciate the most about Stewie and the way he works with you when you contact him, 314-324-4440, is you have the opportunity to explain to him, this is the situation that we're facing. We're looking to put in an offer on a house, or maybe we're considering refinancing because we are, in sudden need of some sort of funds. Maybe you want to do a cash out refinance. Stewie's going to listen to you go through this whole process of explaining where you are and where you need to get, and he's going to give you the best solution for you. It's not something where it's a rip and read kind of a scenario where everybody gets the same pitch. It matters who you are. It matters what you're looking to do. And he's going to give you advice and hopefully be able to help you with that bagel loan where you can access what you need to do to get the mortgage on the home that you want to buy, make the best offer, be the most competitive, and put you in a scenario to win that offer. Same thing if you're doing a refinance. He's going to listen to what you're trying to do, and if the bagel loan applies, he is going to help you walk through that process and get yourself to a better financial tomorrow. He's going to be honest with you. He cares about the way business is done. He cares about his reputation, and I am there to stand side by side with it and say, he's very good at what he does. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, and MLS number 226715.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. Let's vote for Ophthalmology Associates as best laser eye treatment in St. Louis Magazine's A-List competition. Online at stlmag.com.
Hi, Chad Hansen from Hansen's Tree Service. Winter is the best time to remove dead and dangerous limbs from your trees before a winter storm brings them crashing down. Give us a call today or check us out at hansenstree.com and take advantage of our great winter discount.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Underlaw, we take on the establishment and challenge corporations to be better for the safety of our community.
Call Underlaw Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 618 $9
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We're happy to be with you on this Monday afternoon. No basketball today, right? Basketball is now to the Thursday,
I'm so
Friday.
angry at basketball right now.
Why?
My bracket is done.
Yours and everybody else's.
Yeah, but mine's extra dunzo.
You know who picked Florida Atlantic University to be in the Sweet 16?
Jensen.
She sure did.
Yeah.
Do you remember me talking on the air about saying I'm going to she hands Okay, so I got 3 brackets in my son's baseball team's fundraiser bracket challenge thing. And I was going to fill it out, and I'm looking at these 3 brackets. My husband pays a slightly more attention to this stuff than I do, so he fills out one, and you think that'll be a sensible one. And then you give my son, who's 13, he pays attention to college basketball, but he doesn't know anything about picking brackets. This is his first time, but you let him do it, and you let him get into the fun. And then I'm looking at my daughter, and she's kind of interested in it. And I was like, all right, fine. Here, you do mine. She hands it back to me, and I'm looking over, and I'm like, Jensen, you have Florida Atlantic University beating Purdue? Why? You really think that's going to happen? And she's like, well, I don't know. Like, no, she didn't think it was going to happen, but she just picked it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was talking to her, and I got halfway through it, and I'm like, if Florida Atlantic University beats Purdue and I talked her out of picking that, I will never forgive myself. I said, you know what, Jensen, we'll just leave it exactly the way it is. Well, Purdue goes down in the first round, and then Florida Atlantic University beats the 16 seed that beat Purdue. So they're in the Sweet 16. She actually has Florida Atlantic University, I believe, in the Final Four.
Hey.
It's possible.
Oh, my gosh, it's so possible.
Yeah, they're a 9 seed. So Florida Atlantic University, hold on a second here. Florida Atlantic University, they are the...
Aren't they the Knights?
I don't know. I'm Googling it. Are they?
I think they're the Knights.
Mascot. No.
No, they're not the Knights.
Well, Owlsley the Owl.
Oh. Who am I thinking of?
Their mascot is Owlsley the Owl, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the owl couldn't also be a knight.
This is true.
Do you know what I'm saying? The way...
Yeah, you know, the Auburn Tigers, War Eagle. What is that?
If you're from Auburn, it's the coolest thing ever, which I'm not, so I don't really care. So we're in the Frey house. We are I think they're the Owls. All about Florida Atlantic University. which is also, I think, the university right next to Jupiter, Florida, where the Cardinals participate in spring training. So I feel like a trip is in order. Let's go. So basketball is on the shelf right now. We've talked a little bit about the World Baseball Classic earlier, and we're going to discuss a little bit more in 2 o'clock when the whole show is in here. And I want to go back to the discussion. Brad, you were in here when I was talking in the first hour about the World Baseball Classic and why I'm watching it. I know you're watching it. But when you look at the pride that people are finding in Team USA, and the idea that you would find pride in anything USA collectively among a broad group of people who have a lot not in common, but have USA in common, that's a refreshing thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually like, I don't know. I think maybe it's because there's, you said it in the first segment, you're a little bit cynical. And I feel that way too.
A lot of it cynical.
I mean, like, I look at this and the political debates get so heated. You're like, the other side doesn't like the country. They don't love the country. So why would they root for the country? And blah, blah, blah. And I think that's cynical because, at the end of the day, we're all Americans, and it's always awesome to watch American excellence on the global platform, to watch American athletes doing what American athletes do and winning championships and beating the other countries to prove that, hey, we're the best. And I don't think that that's really anything political at all. I think that's just like, it's like when somebody messes with your brother. Like, me and my brother are going to fight and we're going to squabble and we're going to, knock one another around and all that stuff. But don't you lay a hand on him. He's my brother. That's my job.
Yeah.
You stay out of it. And I feel like we kind of forget that we have that attitude as Americans.
And that we have each other.
Yes.
I think that matters too. Well, we've talked a lot about the World Baseball Classic on the show. We'll continue to. The championship game will be later this week. The United States will play either Mexico or Japan, which will be interesting. What is it? Giovanni Gallegos is the closer for Mexico. Lars Nootbaar has taken Japan by storm. And he plays for Japan. So one way or the other. I mean, there are a lot of Americans who are playing on teams all throughout the World Baseball Classic. They're going back. I think it's like grandparent is where the corresponding heritage is rooted, that you can choose where you play. So it's exciting. We're going to talk about it more in the 2 o'clock hour, and I'm interested to know what you think. The YouTube live chat poll today is who will be convicted of a crime first, President Trump or President Biden. Here's Andy McCarthy on Trump.
Yeah, he walked away from it, Brian, and my old office, the Southern District of New York, the federal prosecutors in Manhattan, also wanted no part of this case, which hinges not only on the testimony of the porn star Stormy Daniels, who, look, I think it's credible for her to claim that this happened way back when, but at the same time, she's on record a couple of times saying it didn't happen. The other crucial witness here is Michael Cohen, and I think probably the feds walked away from him because of his deep credibility problems.
Obviously,
so you're not starting out in a great place with those witnesses.
So Andy McCarthy talking a little bit about this situation where President Trump has said that he is going to be arrested. He expects to be arrested on Tuesday. There's been no update from that, right? He hasn't pulled back from that you've heard?
I've seen, and this is on Twitter, so you got to take it for what it's worth. I heard that he's kind of backed off of it a little bit, but I don't know.
Yeah. Here's more from Andy McCarthy on what might happen.
I don't think he'll be arrested in the traditional sense of they'll place handcuffs on him and perp walk him. Given all the security and logistical nightmare that's involved with this kind of a proceeding with a former president, what I'd expect is they'll figure out a place for him to surrender in a secure area where the Secret Service will stay with him. The New York City police will process him, meaning they will do fingerprints and photographs, which is what they do for every person who comes into the system. I doubt we'll see the mugshot anytime soon. We shouldn't see it because it's supposed to be non-public. I know these things leak from time to time, but I wouldn't hold my breath for this one for a while. And then they'll have to get him to court, where he'll be making an initial appearance before a judge, and I'm sure they'll secure that before this all starts as well.
Hogan Gidley joined the show with us at 12:25, and he talked a lot about this issue. And we discussed this point. The process, to me, is always the political capital that the left is going on. It's not the end result. What goes down in the history books is the constant smear of, in this instance, Donald Trump. So you create this cloud of questionable behavior that follows Donald Trump. And this is more of the same. The idea that Donald Trump is out there and going to get arrested and are people really concerned about what the statute of limitations on the crime? The statute of limitations federally are up. And Donald Trump's suggested crime here is one that has been experienced by many politicians over the course of the last couple decades, Hillary Clinton included, Barack Obama included, which is a campaign finance law infraction where you don't classify something correctly. There might be an indication that something was done in a clandestine way because they needed it to be that way in that time and that place, and then they reclassify it and they get fined for that. Barack Obama got fined, I think it was $325,000 or $375,000 in 2008 for not keeping up timely documents. And within the last, I think it's 28 days before the election, the way you're supposed to record small donors and small donations and make sure that you understand exactly where all the money coming to get somebody elected is coming from. It's a very hard thing to do. And at the time, Barack Obama's fine in 2008 was the largest that had ever been levied. I think there was a Bob Dole's failed campaign. They had to pay $100,000 for same sort of concerns about how money came in, how it was spent, and the classification of it was not done the way that the FEC wants it to be done. And so they get fined for it. It's not okay. It's not allowed. It's addressed. There's a consequence for it, except for Donald Trump. They need to perp walk him.
We have finally stumbled upon the one crime worth the full weight of Alvin Bragg's office. Forget about guns and robbery and acts of violence. What really gets his attention is paying someone to be quiet about sex. To be clear, Alvin Bragg will not prosecute people who pay for sex. That's one of the crimes he promised to ignore. To him, you can pay someone for sex in New York and get away with it. But God forbid you pay someone to be quiet about it afterwards.
I think Trey Gowdy is getting on getting under the skin of what I think a lot of Americans are going to see play out in this case, which is the absolute hypocrisy of where the left is on crime and law and order and what is valuable expenditure of the taxpayer dollar.
The demise of our country will be in direct proportion to how politicized our justice system remains. Our justice system should be where we go to escape politics, a place where both friend and foe are afforded fairness and due process, where nothing matters except the law and the facts. It takes no character or courage to be fair to your friends. The question is, can you be fair to your opponents? Alvin Bragg decided the law was no match for his politics. He didn't care what the law was when he took office. And when you ignore the law, you give license to others to ignore the facts. And when you ignore the law and the facts, you don't have a justice system. And if you don't have a justice system, you don't have a country.
I'm grateful for Trey Gowdy making that statement and articulating how crime-ridden places like New York are right now, how crime-ridden places like St. Louis are right now, and understanding that this is the focus, this is where the attention of these individuals goes. There's a political power play being made here for a crime there's not going to be a conviction. It's frustrating to me because the burden of proof that is on the prosecution here, they're not going to be able to prove that Donald Trump knew about all of these things in the details with which they're going to need to. The witnesses that are going to need to testify to what took place have already lied. or had public differing stories. And to me, remember when the Mar-a-Lago raid was the biggest deal? Remember when we were worried that Donald Trump, yes, I know. Don't come and tell me that the classified documents don't hold the nuclear codes. I understand that. But tell that to the people on the mainstream media that were saying over and over and over again, are the nuclear codes in there? Is he selling our nuclear secrets? I mean, it's just absurd. How many times, as a Trump supporter or as a Trump detractor, have you been wondering, oh my gosh, is this the time that they actually get Donald Trump? About completely different situations and scenarios. When you think about the different things that this guy has been accused of and the amounts of money and time and effort and resources that have been spent to pin him to the wall. It's amazing that it's March of 2023 and they still haven't got him. They're not going to get him on this either. But like Hogan Gidley said in the 12 o'clock hour, they just might martyr him. And I don't know if that's how we make this country stronger. I don't know if that's how we make this country better. I don't know that any of the people who are involved in this give two hoots about making the country better. They just want to win politically. It makes the right more invested in just wanting to win politically. And in the meantime, I have a whole list of things here that we could talk about today that are corners of our country that are in shambles. And it's a bit frightening. It's a bit frightening. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Tomi Lahren joins the Annie Frey Show. Host of Tomi Lahren is Fearless on Outkick and a Fox News commentator. She's going to join us to talk about some of these issues and to let us know, is it political? Is it cultural? What's the first ground of defense right now for conservatives to push to get our country back? Is there hope out there for us to get our country back? Tomi Lahren on the Annie Frey Show. We can come back.
That's what I always
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show.
I was that kind
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Just ask anyone. I don't dance, but here I am spinning.
Jen Teskey with Remax Alliance, 618-541-1010. You call her, you text her, and you say, I'm trying to sell my house in Illinois, Jen. I need your help. And she and her team are going to rally behind you. They're going to set you up for the best success. Remax Alliance's Jen Teskey is the destination you've been looking for. Now, she has an incredible amount of experience selling homes. I know that it's tempting sometimes if you're looking to list your house to go with somebody who's new to the business, who is maybe just started selling houses. You want to help them out. I get it. I understand it. I appreciate that and I respect it. But you also want to make sure that you sell your house for top dollar as fast as you can. That's where Jen comes in. Reach out to her and talk to her about your timeline. Talk to her about when you're looking to sell. If you needed to sell yesterday, or if you're thinking, you know what, we'd really like to sell by the end of the year. She'll walk you through the whole process. She will assess your house situation, tell you where to maybe invest a little bit in sprucing up, and tell you, don't spend that money. You save that. Keep that in your own pocket. You don't need to improve here. She's got a team that's going to help you win. 618-541-1010. That's 618-541-1010.
Did you know the IRS is a super creditor? Hi, I'm Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. The IRS is the only creditor that can create a bill for you without your permission, then drop the hammer and aggressively collect it by wiping out your bank account, seizing your assets, and levying your wages. No other creditor can do that, and this can all happen without a court approval. If you owe back taxes, you need to be prepared to face the super creditor. Don't just sit back and take it. Fight back. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, we know how to use the laws to your advantage and go toe-to-toe with the IRS. Our office is located right here in St. Louis. Contact the Lance Drury Law Firm today for a free consultation with me, or visit us at lancedrurylaw.com or call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120 to get started.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. If you own a small business, you know the value of time. GetRefunds.com does too. That's why they've made it easy, no matter how busy you are, to apply for the Employee Retention Credit or ERC. Go to refunds.com to get started and in less than 8 minutes, see if your business qualifies for ERC assistance. Your business may be eligible for a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee kept on payroll during COVID-19. GetRefunds.com has already helped clients claim over $3 billion in payroll tax refunds through the ERC, and they may be able to help your business too. There's no upfront charge either. They don't get paid until your business gets its refund. Many businesses believe they won't qualify based on incomplete or outdated information. So don't let this opportunity pass you by, because this payroll tax refund is only available for a limited time. Go to GetRefunds.com. That's GetRefunds.com.
This is The Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
But what I can speak to is that if you have a prosecutor who is ignoring crimes happening every single day in his jurisdiction, and he chooses to go back many, many years ago to try to use something about porn star hush money payments, that's an example of pursuing a political agenda and weaponizing the office. And I think that that's fundamentally wrong.
Yeah, law and order doesn't matter in New York, but political battles that can be fought in a courtroom, yeah, maybe that does. Let's speak to our next guest, Tomi Lahren. Thank you for reaching out for coming on the show with us. We're so excited to have you here. Host of Tomi Lahren is Fearless on Outkick, Fox News commentator. Great to have a few minutes of your time today, Tomi. Thank you.
Oh, it's good to be here. And, there's never a dull moment. Every time we start getting more information about the Biden family shady business dealings, all of a sudden Trump comes back up to take the spotlight off of the Democrats and off of everything that they've been doing and all the corruption. So, this is a tale as old as time at this point. I think this is witch hunt 5.0 now.
Are American people of all political walks observant of that, or are we still in our corners?
Yeah, no, the American people at large are not aware because half of the media, if not more than half of the media, refuses to cover this, not only the Trump thing truthfully, but also everything that's going on with the Biden family. We know that the laptop cover-up has been going on for several years, and now even though we have hard evidence of the corruption and the payments being made to several Biden family members, the mentioning of the big guy, the media at large really won't touch that. But they are so excited, Annie, to talk about Donald Trump. They've been salivating over this. They want it for their ratings. They have a Trump obsession, and now he's back in the news, back in the headlines. They want to see him in handcuffs. So they're going to salivate over this one for quite some time, I'm afraid.
Tomi, when I am looking at the news of the day to figure out here, what are we going to cover on the Annie Frey Show today? I'm sure the same thing for Tomi Lahren is Fearless on Outkick. There are so many things out there to talk about right now, and it just seems as though a lot of what Biden's administration has done has been, what did Trump do? Let's do the opposite. And there are a lot of fires to put out right now and no firemen to be seen.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's the problem, is that average Americans are struggling right now. I mean, just look at our border as a prime example of that. Another thing that the Biden administration has largely ignored, I mean, this is a basement candidacy. Now it's a basement presidency and vice presidency. And meanwhile, the American people are struggling. Our banks are failing. We still don't know the origins of COVID. Now they're trying to tell us that it was raccoon dogs at wet markets. I mean, there's such a lack of transparency here. But unfortunately, the average American is not consuming all of the news. So they're largely unaware of everything that's going on, the whole look here, not there scenario that this administration constantly puts in front of our nose. And not to mention that, but, I'm in Tennessee. We banned this, but so many areas are dealing with cultural wars of their own that they're not confronting. Drag queen story hours, the grooming of children. I mean, really, the problems are endless and the solutions are nowhere to be found.
Tomi Lahren with us right now, host of Tomi Lahren is Fearless on Outkick. Outkick is an alternative news source, I would say, for people who are interested in what's going on in the world. And I think you guys have an opportunity as well to influence people who may not see you on Fox News. We're a Fox News radio affiliate here on 97.1. We appreciate and support what they do. But Outkick is a little bit different in that you cover a wider breadth of things, a lot of culture as well, just like you're talking about right now. How important is it for culture to be a part of the conversation in the next year and a half?
Culture is going to influence everything, as we've seen. I mean, that is the area right there. And we need to make sure we're accessing young people because they are not getting the information. They're on TikTok. They're on Instagram. They're soaking up everything that the left and the leftist agenda has to offer. They don't know whether they're boys or girls or what body parts they want to cut off. I mean, getting to the young people and making them understand that this stuff has real ramifications for the rest of their lives, that is what we need to be attacking. And we need to get better at getting ourselves into culture on the conservative side because for so long we've just relied on older voters and we've just relied on traditional forms of reaching people. And that's not going to work in 2023 and it's not going to work in 2024.
Yeah, Outkick.com for folks who want to learn a little bit more about what they're doing over there. I think about what the left has to offer and what the right has to offer. Everyone's going to have that choice coming up here in, like I said, about a year and a half. And when I see what the progressive left, the hyper progressive left, what they have to offer any young voter, because they seem to get the young voters, there's not a lot of happiness at the end of their accomplishments. What do you think that the left is really teaching these young people that is attractive to them?
Well, free things is one. I mean, when you have the whole student loan forgiveness thing, a lot of young people think that, you know, all this money that they're taking out to go to these liberal indoctrination camps, formerly known as universities, is going to be forgiven. So that's part of the problem. But also they get the emotional issues and they do it really well. I mean, a lot of these young people now are saying that they have climate anxiety. You know, I'm only 30 years old, but I can tell you this. When I was in high school and college, climate anxiety wasn't my biggest priority, nor was it my biggest concern or fear. But they've used these social issues as the same thing that somehow the right has this assault on gayness, and quite the opposite. We just want you to leave children out of it. You know, so that's where they're hitting these young people. So it's all the emotional issues, the stuff that doesn't take a lot of bandwidth or brain power. But unfortunately, that is the issues that a lot of young people are going to vote on. We saw it in the midterms. Roe v. Wade was a nail in the coffin for the GOP in the midterms. A lot of people think it was Donald Trump and his endorsements. No, it really wasn't. It was the weaponization of the Roe v. Wade overturn and how that was marketed to young people and how it was marketed to women and how it was marketed to independents. And that's why we didn't get the red wave that we were supposed to have. I firmly believe that. And it's going to be an issue and an obstacle we're going to have to tackle in elections to come.
Tomi Lahren, one last question before we let you go. What's your encouragement for the Republican Party, for our listeners right now who might be a little bit older, want to reach out to that younger generation? Hard to combat with free stuff all of the time. But what's the winning message there to reach the young people from the right?
There are a lot of young people out there with their heads on straight. You know, they don't get all the attention, unfortunately, but they're out there. I go to campuses, you know, all throughout the year. I'm headed to UT Dallas on Thursday to give a speech to their Turning Point USA chapter. There are a lot of conservatives out there and a lot of young conservatives that are vibrant, that are excited, that are steadfast in their beliefs. So we do have a hope. But I would say the biggest challenge for us is going to be making sure that we bring as many people into the fold as possible, reminding everybody that freedom over everything is always a winning message. We can reach these young people. We just have to be transparent. We have to lose a little bit of our prudishness, I would say, and it's out there for the taking. So we just got to do a better job. But luckily, we are up for the challenge. I know I certainly am.
Awesome. Tomi, thank you for the time today. We appreciate you.
Of course. Great to talk to you guys.
You as well. Bye-bye. At Tomi Lahren, Lahren on Twitter, if you would like to say hello. And thanks for coming on the Annie Frey Show there. She is a Fox News commentator, and she is host of Tomi Lahren is Fearless on Outkick. I mean, she's feisty. There's nobody out there that's probably something I'm thinking as I'm saying this out loud. That's probably a word that she gets called a lot that she probably hates. I'm putting words and thoughts into her head. But you know how, Hannah, you could be an aggressive, strong female and then just like somebody has that word for you. So I don't know if she wants to be called feisty or not. I mean it with the best of intentions.
Some may say that you are feisty.
Oh, for sure. That's like the nice way of putting it. I'll take feisty because the alternative to feisty is usually it rhymes with a witch. And I've been called that. And maybe it's because I was being that way. Maybe somebody needed to. Anyway, what do you think, Hannah, when it comes to the message of reaching younger people like yourself, Gen Zers, who are not probably engaged politically, but they do know this one guy wants to not make them pay for college or to forgive this or make that free? That's a pretty hard message to compete with.
It is. And I've said before that I believe that the left definitely, they prey on that. They want people to vote on emotion, but voting on emotion doesn't get you very far. It's not going to pay your bills. It's not going to protect you. It only gets you so far. So it is a hard message to compete, but I think that the Republican Party needs to, open their wings a little more and, lay out the facts for young voters because
probably even have the conversation, be willing to entertain the fact that there are young people who might be interested in the conversation, because I think, too, the Republican Party in the past has done such a poor job of reaching into Black communities and sitting down and talking about real issues, because there's an assumption that they're going to not vote Republican anyway, that you end up not having the conversation. But if you talk to a lot of people in Black communities, they have very socially conservative values that if Republicans are never coming to talk to them, why should they get their vote? If conservatives are never coming to talk to young people, why would young people ever give them their vote?
I do also think that many Republicans look at Gen Z just as a whole, and they're saying, okay, they're all dumb, they're all liberal, there's no hope for this generation, whatever. I think they, instead of just putting Gen Z under this huge umbrella, I think they do need to open their minds a little more, highlight those young conservatives, aka myself, and really communicate with them better and educate and, share their message more instead of just shaming the whole generation.
How does politics, outside of this show, does politics ever infiltrate your life or your friends' lives? It's probably pretty simple to stay out of the campaign and election stuff until the season shows up, but is it a big deal?
Well, to me, of course, politics is a huge deal and it seeps into everything I do. But if you mean does it seep into conversation with my friends and I? No, not really. They don't understand. We have an election coming up in April and they don't know about that. I don't even know if my friends are registered to vote. I try to encourage them, but we're 21 and I don't think that's their primary focus, but it is mine. And I try to educate my friends and talk to them about how this is affecting their future and their lives, even though they don't realize it.
Yeah. Well, like we always say here, Hannah can help. I mean, there's a whole cottage industry in people renting your time, paying you for your time to just sit down and have a casual conversation with their now indoctrinated kids when they come back from college. There's a lot of money, I think, in that, like a good capitalist. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, a reminder for you to vote in that YouTube live chat poll. Who will be convicted of a crime first, President Trump or President Biden, or neither? Go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel and vote in the live chat section right there. You click on live chat on the live video, and the poll should be at the top. Give us a vote. Leave a comment. We'll be back in a minute.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
So let's talk about air comfort service and having your cooling system checked or the maintenance done that needs to be done. When you have somebody come out to your home and check on your system, you are going to feel confident and more comfortable and be able to rely on air comfort service to make sure that the job is done correctly. Lack of maintenance is the main cause of breakdowns that end up having you replace your system, which means a lot more money. Air Comfort Service can help walk you through this process. They can help you make sure that everything is correctly done. Regularly scheduled system checks, where both the air conditioner and furnace are checked twice a year. This is a very valuable way to make sure you protect yourself from those costly repairs or hopefully not replacements, that come with non-maintained HVAC equipment. The Air Comfort Service team has been out to my house many times, and I'm so grateful for them because I can rely on them to do the job right, to give me options for my budget based on what it is that we are prepared to do. They'll give you the honest truth. They'll take care of you. Reach out to Air Comfort Service now and let them know how they can help you. 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
With inflation on the rise, you may be charging more to your credit card. But be careful. That increased debt can cause your credit score to suffer.
Don't get stuck with a low credit score and a mountain of high-interest credit card debt. Call Golden Oak Lending now.
Refinance with our low rates to wipe out your high-interest credit card debt and put extra cash in your pocket. Call 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
If you own a home in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is, without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes, stlouis.com at 314-782-8000 and get your cash offer without any obligation, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant homes, inherited homes, fixer-uppers, beautiful homes, even the tenant who won't pay the rent apartment. Google us. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out our best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to our website, chrisbuyshomes.stlouis.com, or call Chris at 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000, and get the offer you've been waiting for. 314-782-8000.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
The Cardinals open the 2023 season at home on Thursday, March 30th. So don't miss the tradition and the excitement of opening day at Busch Stadium. That day, all fans 21 and older will take home the 2023 Magnet schedule, thanks to Budweiser. Never miss a game with this convenient information hub. That's Thursday, March 30th. The Cardinals home opener and the 2023 Magnet schedule presented by Budweiser. Tickets still remain. Get yours at Cardinals.com.
This is Paul Goldschmidt. Thank you for being the best fans in baseball.
On Saturday, April 1st, the Cardinals host the Blue Jays, and that day, 25,000 fans age 16 and older will take home a mystery bobblehead courtesy of Central Bank that features Molina or Pujols hitting home runs. April Fools! These bobbleheads will actually showcase both players doing their best Wainwright impression pitching. That's Saturday, April 1st. The Cardinals, the Blue Jays, and the mystery Molina and Pujols pitching bobbleheads. Tickets available at Cardinals.com.
This is Adam Wainwright. Don't miss a legendary moment at Busch Stadium.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 54 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
The voice for hardworking, free-thinking Americans.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk. For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
I went down to the crossroads, fell down on my knees. I went down to the crossroads, fell down on my knees. Asked the Lord for mercy, so help me if you please. I went down to
Yes, Jose, it's a good question. I mean, part of the reason for Xi's visit is that he wants to be seen as a great diplomat on the world stage. As you mentioned, China was important to the kind of rapprochement between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Part of the reason, as you mentioned, that and as Matt said, that the Ukrainians are not telegraphing anything, they're waiting because they do think that there is some daylight between Xi and President Putin. I mean, Xi Jinping isn't, crazy. He doesn't necessarily want to throw his lot in with a war criminal. And the other thing he's realized, and the Chinese military has realized, is that Russia is not the hyperpower they have built themselves up at.
President Xi meeting with Vladimir Putin, and the White House right now has John Kirby in front of them. They're discussing, I don't know what they're discussing. We thought, let's listen in and see. Hannah, are we ready to listen in? Okay, so John Kirby speaking from the White House right now on these issues. And
probably know that China has already issued a 12-point plan for the conflict in Ukraine, which includes an essential point, and that's respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all countries. We encouraged President Xi to advocate for this exact essential key point, which must include the withdrawal of Russian forces from sovereign Ukrainian territory consistent with the UN Charter. The entire world would like to see this war end, especially the Ukrainians themselves, who have put forward their own plan for a just peace, which draws again on these same UN principles. And let's remember, this war could actually end right now if Russia would withdraw its troops from the country. We hope the President Xi will press President Putin to cease bombing Ukrainian cities, hospitals, and schools, to halt the war crimes and atrocities, and to withdraw all its troops. But we are concerned that, instead, China will reiterate calls for a ceasefire that leaves Russian forces inside Ukraine's sovereign territory. Now, any ceasefire that does not address the removal of Russian forces from Ukraine would effectively ratify Russia's illegal conquests, enabling Russia to entrench its positions and then to restart the war at a more advantageous time for them. This would, the world should not be fooled by any tactical move by Russia, aided by China or any other country, to freeze the war on its terms without any viable pathway to restore Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Any such attempt would violate the UN Charter and defy the will of the 141 countries that demanded just weeks ago at the UN General Assembly that Russia immediately, completely, and unconditionally withdraw from Ukraine. Efforts to end this conflict must take Ukraine's position into account. And so we encourage President Xi to play a constructive role by speaking with President Zelensky, which he has not done since Russia launched this invasion. Because China, quite frankly, we believe, should hear directly from the Ukrainians and not just from the Russians. And we encourage President Xi to press President Putin directly on the need to respect Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The world and China's neighbors will certainly be watching closely. Now, I also have a few updates for you on Israel. First, we welcome the understandings reached in Sharm el-Sheikh yesterday between senior political and security officials of Israel and the Palestinian Authority. This was the second meeting in this particular format following the gathering that was in Aqaba 3 weeks ago, and it included participation by senior officials from the United States, from Egypt, and from Jordan. The parties held candid and constructive conversations on steps to improve security and stability for Palestinians and Israelis, and on efforts to strengthen the economic stability of the Palestinian people. Meetings at this level have not taken place in nearly 10 years, and they help to build a critical foundation to de-escalate tensions and reduce violence, and that's what we want to see happen. We look forward to continuing these discussions as we enter the holy month of Ramadan, of Passover, and Easter. Now, President Biden has also spoken, I think as you know, yesterday with Prime Minister Netanyahu. In that call, he welcomed the meeting in Sharm el-Sheikh and reinforced the need for all sides to take urgent, collaborative steps to enhance security coordination, condemn all acts of terrorism, and maintain the viability of a two-state solution. He also reiterated his unwavering commitment to Israel's security and our ongoing cooperation to counter all the threats posed by Iran, and there are many. The president also stressed that democratic values have always been and must remain a hallmark of U.S.-Israeli bilateral relations. Democratic societies are strengthened by genuine checks and balances, and fundamental changes should be pursued with the broadest possible base of popular support. He offered his support for efforts underway to forge a compromise on proposed judicial reforms consistent with those core principles. And we call on all Israeli leaders to reach such a compromise without delay. On a separate topic, earlier today, I think you saw, the President issued a statement welcoming the recovery and soon return of Jeff Woodkey, a U.S. citizen who had been held hostage in Africa for more than 6 years. He is safe, and he is in the hands of U.S. government officials. As the president said in that statement not too long ago, we extend our deepest appreciation to the Nigerian government for their help in securing his release. For more than 6 years, there has been a multi-pronged effort dedicated to locating and recovering Jeff, which was spearheaded by our military, our law enforcement, and our intelligence community working together with French support. Jeff, like other hostages and wrongful detainees, will be offered the best medical care possible, of course, to include post-isolation support. After a full medical screening, he will be united with his loved ones in the near future. I think you can understand why we'd ask you to please allow Jeff and his family a little bit of privacy here as he adjusts to new surroundings and to life moving forward and to coming back into American society. The Biden-Harris administration remains unwavering in our commitment to bringing Americans wrongfully detained or held hostage abroad home to their loved ones, and this is yet another example of the president's commitment in that regard. Lastly, I know it's not lost on any of you that today is the 20th anniversary of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Whatever one thinks about the war and what started it, I can tell you two things. One, we're looking ahead. We've got a good collaboration, a good partnership with Iraq and Iraqi security forces, who we continue to partner with in an enable, advise, and assist role, because there's still a viable threat of ISIS there in Iraq and in Syria. And number two, the President and the First Lady remain absolutely committed, as they always have been, to the men and women of our military, as well as across the interagency, who served, fought, died, and suffered in Iraq. Some 4,399 troops did not make it home from the war. More than 30,000 came home forever changed by wounds and injuries. And it's not just them, it's their families that continue to suffer, that continue to sacrifice. There's 4,399 chairs at 4,399 dinner tables that are empty. And it's important for us always to remember that and never forget the bravery, the courage, the sacrifice that went into fighting that war. Again, regardless of how you feel about it, President Biden and the First Lady are going to stay committed to those families going forward.
I'm going
to
start in the back. Go ahead, please start. Oh, okay, thank you. Just on Russia, first of all, Moscow has indicated that they'll put a pause on the grain deal by May 18th if the U.S. doesn't comply with some of their demands, which include putting some banks back in the SWIFT system and resuming exports of agricultural equipment. What's your reaction to that, and what's the plan B if they do halt?
So first, we obviously welcome the extension. It's for, I think, 60 days, not the 120 that I think everybody was hoping for, but 60-day extension. That's a good thing. In fact, over the weekend, I think 2 ships left with hundreds of thousands of metric tons of corn. And a lot of that corn, a lot of that grain is heading for low and middle income countries that have been suffering.
So we're listening to John Kirby from the White House talking about several of the different things that are on the plate of the administration right now. And I think there's some more questions that they get to here in a little bit, but I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on a bunch of these other issues. He did mention the 20-year anniversary of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Interesting that he says that and acknowledges. Good for him for saying that. Because I was talking at the beginning of the show about the idea that in the World Baseball Classic and the idea of wearing USA across your jersey, how many people do you go talk to if you were to speak to 100 random people? How many of them would feel like the United States is something really to be proud of? I think it depends on where you go. I think around St. Louis, I think you'd find a lot of people who are really proud. I think that the idea of America and what Americana is still something that people yearn for and long for. And when I was talking about where that pride in America really sticks, it seems as though from the 2008 campaign of President Obama, where he said he wanted to fundamentally transform the United States of America, that is really where we moved heavily into an identity politics battle on a day-to-day basis. Culture wars were really established. People on the left want to, decry people on the right who are constantly fighting culture war battles, which is where woke lives. That's the whole woke is part of a culture war. That was waged in the mid-2000s with the ascent of Barack Obama. It was what helped him win his election, was his movement towards cultural things that the whole of the country felt needed to be less conservative. And in a lot of ways, the country really changed in that amount of time. Barack Obama himself changed in that amount of time. He has been outspoken about being against non-traditional marriage. He, of course, was a champion of non-traditional marriage into his administration. The country morphed. But before those mid-2000s, we had September 11th, 2001. And then we had Operation Iraqi Freedom. And a whole generation of people understood that the world was different post-September 11th. And that cost people their lives who signed up, who weren't necessarily involved in the initial attacks of September 11th, but signed up and gave their lives either in combat or they came home and watched the way that we exited Afghanistan. And there's depression and there's a questioned sense of purpose. I just want all of those people to know how valuable they are to this country. And those USA chants, whenever you hear them, those are for you. Let's talk about it a little bit more when we come back. Don't go away.
With the Wholesale Formula Seminar, discover how to start your own Amazon business.
Hey, I'm Rick Manello. 2 years after attending the Wholesale Formula Seminar, I was able to sell my Amazon business for over $400,000.
Hi, I'm Amy Sherlock. I attended the Wholesale Formula Seminar to learn how to work from home while raising my son. Today, I do $175,000 in sales per month.
Hi, Ian Bauer. My first year averaged $45,000 a month in sales. Now I'm at $90,000 a month and hardly working.
Whether you have a business and want to sell more on Amazon, retired, or just need extra money, America's Amazon expert Dylan Frost will show you how. Only $49.99 guaranteed or your money back. That's right. Discover the easy way to make money on Amazon with Dylan Frost's The Wholesale Formula 2-Hour Seminar, Tuesday, March 28th at 2 p.m. for the greater St. Louis area. Register at thewholesaleformula.com.
Purchasing jewelry at the Diamond Shop is a process that will have you wanting to come back for more, because the Diamond Shop has a family-centered atmosphere, a generational business. St. Louis, since 1910, man, if you want to shop jewelry in St. Louis, you do need to know about the Diamond Shop. They cater everything, the whole experience, the product, the customer service, the pricing to you. They want to make sure that your experience is so wonderful that you're going to brag about that experience, that you're going to tell your friends and your family about that experience, and that the next time you're in the market to purchase something, maybe a nice set of earrings, a watch, or a tie restraint like I bought for my husband, you are going to go back and enjoy the experience once again at the Diamond Shop. They have a wide selection of engagement and wedding rings, fine jewelry, and watches. They do custom jewelry and watch repair, appraisals, and they also buy gold. Become a VIP with the Diamond Shop by signing up online for special discounts and merchandise. Go to thediamondshop.net.
Let's be honest, a jewelry store is not where most guys want to be. Guys like Paul Goodall.
First-time diamond buyers, most of us are engagement ring buyers. We have no idea whatsoever what we're walking into, and we push it off, and we push it off, and we push it off.
But like so many other men, Paul was pleasantly surprised when he walked into Diamonds Direct.
When you go in, you don't have to have a big background in gemology. They don't look down the end of their nose at you, as you would find in some other places, and make you uncomfortable because you're not an expert in diamonds.
But But by the time he left, Paul was an expert in diamonds because Diamonds Direct took the time to educate him, show him the inside secrets of the industry, and give him the tools to make a smart decision.
They do a really, really good job of laying out the information for you and not pressing you.
Diamonds Direct, a guy-friendly jewelry store where you're always treated with respect.
The great thing about Diamonds Direct is they alleviate that stress.
So relax, guys. It's Diamonds Direct. We've got your back. Get directions and store hours now at diamondsdirect.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
President Biden wants to talk to China's president. Lisa Brady, Fox News. Right now, no call is scheduled, though, as Xi Jinping visits Moscow, meeting with Russia's president, as the U.S. urges China again not to give weapons to President Putin for his war in Ukraine.
We continue to believe it's not in China's best interest to do that, to help Mr. Putin slaughter innocent Ukrainians. It's hard to believe that they would think that that's in their best interest. It would also run counter to what we've heard President Xi talk about in terms of what his ultimate goal here is.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says there's been no indication of a Chinese decision on lethal aid. Kirby also getting questions about security concerns over the possible indictment of former President Trump.
I'm not tracking any individual or specific threats or any specific or operational moves by the federal government.
Officials in New York City are preparing for the possible results of a grand jury probe into 2016 hush money payments after Trump said he expects to be arrested, calling for protests over what he calls a witch hunt. The head of the state police resigns in West Virginia after allegations of misconduct on the force. Governor Jim Justice making the announcement.
But I stand with and behind our police on every issue up to the point in time when it goes beyond what is right.
He's asking the Deputy Director of State Capitol Police to be the interim superintendent and to investigate the allegations, which include a hidden camera in the women's locker room at the State Police Training Academy. State lawmakers in Idaho just passing a bill that would allow execution by firing squad, approving it by a veto-proof majority and sending it to the governor. Idaho had removed a previous firing squad option. This version is only allowed if the state can't obtain the drugs needed for lethal injections. 4 other states have similar laws. America is listening to Fox News.
Kids across America are going to school hungry. Millions of kids every day. Hungry kids get sick more often and can struggle in school. It can be harder for them to focus and learn. But one simple thing can help change all of this for a hungry child in America. Good, healthy food and the energy it brings. With help from caring people across America, No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures.
We want to ensure that all of our kids have healthy meals every day.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping feed our kids.
To learn more about ending child hunger in America, go to helpnokidhungry.org today.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Temperatures starting to flip on us this afternoon. Windy and warmer, lots of sunshine, 58 for the high. Tonight, more and more clouds, windy and 35. Tuesday, periods of rain, strong gusty winds, 49. It's chilly on Tuesday, and actually by late in the day Tuesday, we'll drop back to 40 degrees. Very wet Tuesday night with periods of rain and strong winds. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
STS Armory was in studio with us last Friday to play X's and O's. We had a great time with them. Katie won. If you are looking for a family in the business of firearms, of protection, of the accessories that go along with owning a firearm, when my husband and I were buying our first firearm, I said to him, I go, we are buying a very well-equipped safe before we invest in the firearm. That was just the hierarchy for us and our family. When you go into STS Armory and you explain these things, they get it. They understand it. They can help navigate that situation so that you're buying something that serves the purpose. They respect the fact that you have a budget and that you were looking to stay within a budget. Friday, after the show, I went to visit them and to drop off some T-shirts. I don't know. I texted. I'm going to see if they have any T-shirts left. I'll update you later on in the show if I hear from them. But if you go there and you mention the Annie Frey Show, they might have an Annie Frey Show t-shirt to give you because I gave them 10 or 11. You're going to talk to them about what you're looking for, what you need, what you have, and what you might want to add to it. They'll walk you through the whole process. They're in Pontoon Beach. They are the best. It's where I go. I hope you'll give them the chance as well. STS-armory.com.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
When companies decide to take shortcuts, the safety of our families are at risk. At Underlaw, we find and expose those shortcuts.
Call Underlaw Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 618 $9
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. Find tools for the job site or your own backyard at over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at steelusa.com.
How might this week's big stories impact your portfolio? Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale with Stifel. Join me and fellow Stifel financial advisor Eric Robert during On the Money every Saturday from 11 till noon right here on 97.1 FM Talk. Stifel, member NYSE and SIPC.
Free speech has a home. 97.1 FM Talk.
Your home for conservative talk.
One of the only places where conservative ideas aren't shut out of the conversation.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
We were just having this conversation off the air about something that we can't talk to you about yet. But if you stick with the show, we might resurrect the segment called I Got a Friend Who, and then you'll have to figure out who the friend is. And Ryan goes, oh, yeah, I remember that segment. Basically, I Got a Friend Who was a way that we could tell stories on the air, and maybe it would be Brad, like I would tell Brad about something that was happening in my life. And it would be maybe about a friend of mine or whatever. But Brad would tell the story so that we could discuss it on the air, but it would be at least 2 degrees of separation from the actual instance because it'd be a sensitive issue.
Right.
But these sensitive issues are great discussions because they're things that other people may be experiencing. We just don't want to put anybody's dirty laundry out there for everyone to see on this show. And Ryan goes, oh, yeah, I remember that segment. And I said, Ryan, we used to do this segment all the time, but Ryan never remembered the I got a friend part. He just kept telling weird stories about himself.
I've got really good news for you, though.
You have a friend?
No friends.
No friends.
I have figured that segment out.
Just now?
It's dawned on me now how to do that.
Just here? Wow.
If we ever do it again. Yeah.
Just now.
Just now, I figured out, so I should tell the stories in a way that you don't know whether it's me, but it could be me. You just don't know, which was the idea the entire time, I understand. But now I get that. Now I get it.
What happened to make you understand that?
You said, hey, Ryan, you didn't get the segment last time we did it.
Did I not say that to you previously?
You did, but I don't know that I was listening. There's probably a lot going on at that
now,
time.
Sir.
Yeah.
Everything that happens now is happening now.
What happened to then?
Past then.
When?
Just now. We're at now.
Go back to then.
When?
Now.
Now?
Now.
I can't.
Why?
We missed it.
When?
Just now.
When will then be now? Soon.
You got a friend?
I am Rick Moranis in that clip. Because I was understanding in the break what you were saying finally. Even though you had said the exact same thing.
I'm asking you a 100% serious question. Is this the first time you really understood that segment? Seriously.
No. I just would screw it up every time.
Was it intentional?
No.
Okay.
It was that I would start telling a story.
Which is worse.
And it was so personal. Honestly, the stories I would tell would usually be so personal to me that I would at some point in there slip in an I instead of a my friend.
It was
and then I'd
from
just
the
say,
beginning, and then
forget
through
it.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
And we had to stop doing it to protect the people who you're associated with.
Well, back on track now.
Because you have a friend who would always end with, I don't have a friend anymore.
Yeah, and that's what's great is that now we're all on the same page and we can do the segment anytime.
Mm-hmm.
And I am much more disciplined now. I'm better now than I was then.
What's changed?
I hope I wouldn't be the friend that you were talking about.
The grayness in your beard?
Well, you would, yeah. Experience, wisdom has changed. As you know, when I first started on this, I was very green. Yes, I'd done a lot of media, but I didn't know what I was doing. Now people tune in and they go, now that guy knows what he's talking about.
Is that what they say?
Yep.
You guys were talking about the grayness in your beard.
Yeah.
I was half listening to that because I don't have a beard, but my hair is gray.
Right.
Is this happening?
It's happening. I was noticing this morning. I was like, oh man, every time I trim my beard when it grows back, there's just a little bit more gray in it.
You know what you got to do?
What's that?
Stop
just let it
trimming
grow?
your beard.
Let it grow?
Yeah, but then you got to commit to that.
Grow.
It's going to be summer. It's going to be so hot.
Yeah, and once you do it, you can't go back. You got to let it roll because everything that comes out then from now on is going to be grayer. And so you'd see the bottom of it. You got to do it.
So Ryan and Brad both have pretty much the same amount of beard.
Brad's got a little bit thicker,
But I mean,
better beard than me. But yes,
I mean, I wasn't going to say that.
I will.
I will.
I got a friend who has a little bit better beard than I do. I mean, not me. I mean, my friend does. What?
But no, you wear it about the same length. It's the same coverage of your face. You both have mustaches. You can go onto the Andy Frey YouTube and look at their beards. Just tune in to look at the boys for once.
Yeah, exactly. Because we all know why you're tuning in to
And
the YouTube stream.
When you look at their beards,
Stop touching your camera.
I think you're getting in trouble now. I think you guys should figure out who can not shave the longest and wager something on it. Do you think that you could outlast Ryan, Brad?
Of not shaving?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Ryan has a way about him of not doing things.
Disappointing people?
What he's saying is that I would win because I'm lazy. Not because I would commit to the thing.
You're asking me to get into a competition with Ryan of not doing something.
Ryan, do you think you could outlast Brad?
No.
What?
I would lose that
Because you have standards?
Because I have high standards and I'm becoming more wise in my old age and I just keep up with myself better. But B, I don't. I don't even know what I was saying when I said that.
Too easy. The words fell out and you're like, oh,
let me keep going. Steamroll. But there was, if down here, it gets too itchy, man. I can't do it.
I understand that.
I can't do it. It gets too long, and then my face gets all wide because I don't trim it right because I'm stupid. And I can't keep up with it because it's so darn itchy. I don't know how to fix that.
Gotta have beard oil.
Wow.
We did talk about having a beard oil.
It'd be awesome.
Sponsor, didn't we? Because we both went, oh, if we had one, we'd do it. Mm-hmm. But we never followed through with it.
Have you used the beard stuff from Water Sweet Soap Company?
I have not used theirs yet.
You need to try it.
I will.
Can't recommend it. I've not needed it for my beard. So, you should try it.
We should do a Friday poll about who wears it best with gray. Because you genuinely have really cool gray hair.
Yeah.
Aw, thanks.
It
Except
is
for
awesome.
this weird stripe.
No,
yeah, I agree.
that
I
part's
hate that
cool,
stripe.
too.
Get rid of the stripe.
No.
Get rid of it.
Just yank it out.
I literally said, I think it was off the air. I didn't say this on the air, did I? So if you see my hair, if you ever see me in public, people think that I color my hair gray because gray is in. I actually didn't know that gray was in like 2017, and I really needed to color my hair, but it was expensive, and I probably didn't have the money for it at the time. So I was just letting it grow out, and then people started saying, "Oh, Annie, who colors your hair? That's so cool." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Turns out gray is in, so I haven't colored my hair since 2017. This is about 6 years of growth, and you can see it's about right here where the old blonde is. It's probably the bottom 8 inches of my hair or so. And I was thinking that I offered to let Ryan Wiggins cut it if we made a really big milestone on like the YouTube channel or something.
And I could cut it whenever, however I wanted?
No, I would tell you where you could cut it too, but I would let you do it. And then I would go to a professional to fix it.
That
Oh, that's right, because I wanted to do it with hedge trimmers.
You did say that, and
Just
I said
one clip. Gone.
no.
I think that would be great. It would be great
They'd
for
have to be
online.
really sharp.
You know what's crazy is that when you point out that you have that spot on the camera, I can see it on the camera. I'm looking at you right now.
The blonde?
Yeah, the blonde.
Yeah,
I can see the line distinctly on the camera, but when I look at you in person, I can't really see it.
It's not, I don't know what it is, but when I see it on camera, I thought, oh, that's kind of embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
It's so
You're right about
embarrassing.
that.
I was like, Ryan, you should cut this off.
That's saying something.
That's how embarrassing
Here's how bad it is. I'll let Ryan cut it.
So gray, you're 21 years old, Hannah. Do you have any gray hairs ever?
No.
You shouldn't.
Oh, this was gray starting. I had gray hairs when I was 14.
No kidding.
My hair is completely a gray right now, and
Wow.
I'm 38.
Like a regular Steve Martin.
You've seen exactly. Us. You've seen my mom.
Uh-huh.
Her hair is white.
Yeah, but she's also of the age where that would be appropriate. Now, don't even look at me. I said nothing wrong.
What do you mean? Elaborate.
Mrs. Annie's mom, I'm not going to say your name
Yeah, thanks.
because I'm nice. And I think that you're great.
She thinks you're great, too. It's so annoying. I had friends over on Saturday night, and we were talking a little bit about the show, and one of them was like, oh, Wiggins, he's funny. And I was like, oh, God.
Here we go. You need to record those and bring them in.
Now you guys have to leave my house. I always wonder if you've gotten to these people.
That's a good strategy. I need to find out who's in your inner circle and even your outer circle. Like, just show up at your kids' baseball games and be like, you know who's great is that Wiggins. And I'm wearing a mustache with those glasses. They don't know it's me.
Don't give away
Are you
my
going to wear a
secrets.
mustache over your mustache?
Yeah. They'll be like,
They're going to know from the second they see you, that's probably Wiggins.
nah. They're going to be like, who's that distinguished gentleman? I don't know, but I agree with his opinions.
Does facial hair in 2023 make somebody seem more distinguished? What does the presentation of facial hair do for... In a man's mind, because I don't want to think it from a woman's mind, but in a man's mind, what's facial? What are you laughing at?
Well, actually,
just keep going.
here's
the
the key to it. We don't care. We want to know what the girls think.
I know.
Whatever the girls think, that's what we're going to agree with.
So if I think that a clean-shaven face is the only way to go, you guys going to come back tomorrow with a clean-shaven
Tomorrow I
face?
come in, I got a Fu Manchu at the best. The rest of it's gone.
Call that the Roboski in St. Louis.
That's right.
What do you like? Facial hair. There was a long time where clean shaven was the I don't know way to go, but facial hair has been in the long beards. Duck Dynasty really popularized those, but beards and beard oil and all of this stuff, like you will have men who have beard oil, and that is now manly.
Sound like you're being very cautious.
I'm not tipping my hand.
Like, to me, it's really like, is the person distinguished? I think a person can look very intelligent, very distinguished with a beard, but it has to be maintained. It can't just be the wild man beard where, you know, it looks like you rolled in out of the foothills of the Rockies and you're like, with a coonskin
It's not because
hat.
you didn't have another choice.
Right. It
Ryan?
requires effort.
Look like you wake up and you've been asleep for 14 years.
And lost.
What year is it?
Rip Van Wiggins is here. No, I will.
Your grandma.
What scares me about I've called my mom that before. That's what you're thinking of, not my grandma, because she sleeps so much. I have a friend whose mom sleeps so much. It's not me. That's what I meant to say.
This is how the segments went. And they end with, sorry, Mom.
Here we are doing this segment, and we didn't even mean to.
You're just sideswiping people on accident outside of the segment.
What scares me, and one of the reasons I think that I have had a beard since I was probably in my mid-20s, and it may be completely different now, that's what's scary, is that I grew a beard because I looked so young in my 20s that people would refer to me as a high school student.
Yeah.
And so I grew a beard, and then it kind of went away. Well, now I don't know what will happen, because if I get rid of the beard, maybe I look super old now, or I still look super young and I should keep no beard. I don't know, but it scares me.
Let's try it.
Shave your whole beard. How long until you're back where you are right now?
Oh, probably a month.
A month?
Yeah, it doesn't grow fast. Well, back to now, yeah, probably close to a month.
Whoa.
At least 2 weeks before you're saying, oh, he's got a beard again.
I think I was like 7 days.
7 hours.
Yeah.
Man, I know people like that.
I do too.
5 o'clock
But-
shadow.
Yeah.
Richard Nixon.
From Melania Trump to this, I think it was about 7 days.
Did you shave? You shaved completely for Melania?
I didn't razor blade shave, but no guard.
We're
on
talking
the
about the
trimmer.
Halloween costumes, not like when he was with Melania Trump.
Right.
He's referring to Melania Trump as, remember when we were with Melania?
Yeah.
I shaved for that. Yeah, it took me 7 days after Melania.
How weird would you look shaven?
I want to see it.
I don't know.
I
I
do
think
too.
the last time I shaved was 2014. And I did it for a TV show, so there is record of what I look like without it.
2014 though, that's almost 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. I'm fine. You got to come up with a real good reason. I could do it
Well,
if the reason's
let me
good
just
enough.
put
You
it
have a
this way.
dimple in your chin.
My standards
Maybe.
of what is a good reason might differ from yours.
Well, that's why the standard will be mine. My beard,
I'm
my
just
choice.
saying, you should do it for the
What if
show.
what if we did it where when we achieve the amount that he needs to cut your hair, you get to shave his beard off of him?
Ooh.
Well, then that's still her standard.
I get to put a razor to his face?
Mm-hmm. Not to his throat,
she gets to
just
set
his
the
face.
milestone, though, regardless. I'm not agreeing to that.
I don't want to shave his face. I don't really. How about you shave
What about
it?
if we did it like
yeah,
wedding
I'll do
cake,
it.
where I do it at the same time as you do it?
How about we don't? That's definitely not happening.
How about we don't?
I'm more okay with the thought of you cutting my hair than me having to shave your face.
While I cut your hair.
I don't want to do that.
Man.
That's a hard
I'm gonna
no.
do the full Bugs Bunny thing on him if I get to shave his face. The towel and the ointment.
Oh,
and the
yeah.
stuff.
I'm down with that.
Well,
That may be the milestone right there. If just somebody gave me a hot towel.
Nick just sent $1.99 to shave it Wiggleshire.
$1.99's getting there. I'm not an expensive man.
I kind of want him to just shave the chin part off and leave the outside so that it goes up and over his mustache. And
You know what I'd really like to do? I don't know that I could do it, but I bet you could. Is just shave the inside of the beard and leave an outline of what a beard would
Lord
look
have
like.
mercy.
I genuinely think
terrible
that would
idea.
That would be so strange.
Hannah, you're 21 and you're hanging out with the young folks. Facial hair or no for a lot of those guys?
Do they have it or do I
Yep.
want it? For
Both.
them.
Both.
Not for me.
Honestly, Hannah, whatever you say right now, most of St. Louis is going to do.
I like facial hair, but
There it is.
full
Boys,
facial hair, not
That's
patchy.
all
Patchy
Ryan
is not
needed to
in.
hear.
Patchy is not in. And that's
patchy. What? We know that we have jumped the shark as a society if patchy facial hair comes
You
back
just said
in.
you wanted to shave the inside of your beard
That's
off
not
your
patchy.
face.
That's very deliberate. Very deliberate. It's a beard outline. And I would love to see it, Brad, just for the record again.
it's a lot of money, Ryan. That is
And
a
by the way,
lot of
now
money.
that Hannah told me that beards are cool,
That's not what she said.
she said yeah, that's true. I was going to say she wants a guy with a beard, and I was like, I can't really justify keeping my beard for that reason.
No, you can't.
Nope.
Now you're making it weird.
Yeah.
Outro music's playing.
Yes, it is.
thankfully.
Don't make it weird, Wiggins. Let's talk about the World Baseball Classic. Marco Rubio making a comment about some of the protesting that was going on at the World Baseball Classic yesterday when the United States played Cuba. What happened? What did Rubio say about it? And what do we think about the World Baseball Classic? We'll be right back. Don't go away.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Are you ready for it?
So I want to talk to you about the Vitae Foundation and an event that they have coming up. Go to prowomanaapproach.com to learn about Kevin Sorbo, Hercules, coming to St. Louis on Tuesday, April 11th at the Hilton St. Louis Frontenac. I am so excited to welcome him to St. Louis. You are going to not want to miss this event. He has a great message for you to listen. And when you go to the Vitae Foundation's annual pro-life dinner here for St. Louis, you are going to be supporting an amazing cause. That means you're going to be stepping into the gap for these women who are forced to make a decision, make a choice. It's their legal choice as to what they're going to do with potentially an unplanned or unwanted pregnancy. Many times they're not provided with the information that they need to make an educated decision. When you support the Vitae Foundation, you're supporting these women. That's why they call it a pro-woman approach. It absolutely is. It is loving, it is compassionate, and they need you to participate in order to be a success. This is an awesome event, a great way to help them raise the funds they need to reach these women. Kevin Sorbo, Tuesday, April 11th at the Hilton St. Louis Frontenac. Register for this important dinner event at prowomanaapproach.com.
It's March, and that can mean only one thing. The madness is here. Not in front of a TV on game day? Listen to every round of NCAA March Madness live from Westwood One, free in the Odyssey app. Catch all the biggest moments of the tournament, no matter where you are. From Cinderella's,
a 15 seed will head to the Elite Eights,
to buzzer beaters.
Atkinson scores! 1.4 seconds left.
To champions.
For the fourth time,
it's time to go dancing. Download the Odyssey app today to get started.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have a plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all three with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. Looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Did you know the IRS is a super creditor? Hi, I'm Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. The IRS is the only creditor that can create a bill for you without your permission, then drop the hammer and aggressively collect it by wiping out your bank account, seizing your assets, and levying your wages. No other creditor can do that, and this can all happen without a court approval. If you owe back taxes, you need to be prepared to face the super creditor. Don't just sit back and take it. Fight back. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, we know how to use the laws to your advantage and go toe-to-toe with the IRS. Our office is located right here in St. Louis. Contact the Lance Drury Law Firm today for a free consultation with me, or visit us at lancedrurylaw.com or call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120 to get started.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Have you always dreamed of a lush green lawn? Get that beautiful curb appeal without the hassle by calling Professional Irrigation Systems. They'll install your new automatic lawn sprinkler system and give you a variety of options and warranties. Don't spend half your day lugging a hose around watering your lawn. Let Professional Irrigation Systems do the work for you. They offer spring activations, backflow testing, mid-season tune-ups, and winterization. Call the pros that have been in business for 20 years. Professional Irrigation Systems. Online at proirrigation.com.
97.1 FM Talk. You're here because ideas change the world. St. Louis is home for conservative talk. This is 97.1 FM Talk.
All right.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
Yeah.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
I must admit, I can't explain any of these thoughts
So tonight, the United States, in less than an hour, is going to play Cuba in the World Baseball Classic semifinals here in Miami. And I'm getting reports, and I'm being sent videos from people that are trying to get into the game wearing T-shirts that say Free Cuba, Cuba Libre, Patria Vida, slogans that the Cuban regime finds offensive. And I'm being told that the Miami Marlins, who operate this taxpayer-funded stadium, are not letting people in with these things on. So just imagine that. A U.S. citizen-funded, taxpayer-funded stadium operated by the Miami Marlins in Miami, Florida, in the United States, and Americans are not allowed to take in T-shirts or flags or signs, not that have profanity, I agree with that, but flags and signs that have messages that the Cuban regime finds offensive. They're not allowed to bring them in, apparently. That's not what the Miami Marlins told us their policies were going to be, but apparently that's what they're enforcing, and it is outrageous, it's disgusting, it's grotesque. I hope it isn't true, and I hope it's being corrected.
Florida Senator Marco Rubio talking as a Cuban. He's of Cuban descent. I think his parents maybe both were from Cuba, but he's got a great story, and he talked about it a lot when he was running for president in 2016. I was a huge Rubio fan, still am, and listening to him talk about and question the practices of letting in these not letting in these protesters who may have had an anti-Cuban government sentiment to the USA-Cuba World Baseball Classic game is really, really interesting and compelling stuff to me, especially when you think about how aggressive that Major League Baseball was in making bold and very punitive decisions to Atlanta on behalf of voters' rights. You know, all these different kinds of rights that they wanted to stand up for and virtue signal on. And take in the name of anti-racist behavior, take the All-Star game out of Atlanta and put it in Colorado. You'd think that there would be an opportunity there for them to stand up and defend the rights of people. No, not this time. They were policing that situation and keeping people from having those anti-Cuban government sentiments. It's a very interesting thought, and I think it's important that it's part of the context of the whole World Baseball Classic story. We're going to speak tomorrow. We're going to speak with Jack Brewer is going to join the Annie Frey Show Tuesday at 1:25 p.m. We're going to talk about fatherlessness. We're going to talk about families. We're going to talk about the culture aspect of where this country is headed. Jack Brewer is going to be an amazing guest Tuesday, 1:25. Don't miss it. Regarding the World Baseball Classic, Ryan, you said in a text message with us this weekend that you watched some of it.
Yeah, and it was really the first time. I'd seen it mostly in clips, but I sat down and watched at least, I would say, probably the majority of the game on Sunday and yesterday. Yeah, against Cuba.
Did you watch the game against Venezuela at all?
No, but we were talking. I was sitting with my dad. He watched that whole game, and he said it was unbelievable. He said he'd never seen anything like it.
7-5 against Venezuela. Was that the fifth or sixth inning?
I think it was the seventh
inning. It was late in the game.
Yeah.
I had started to tell myself the things that I tell myself as an exceedingly, over-competitive person. This doesn't mean anything. This isn't going to ruin my day tomorrow. It's okay to cheer for him, but the other team is good. Blah, blah, blah. Trey Turner's up with the bases loaded. Grand slam jack into the second deck, and we are now up 9-7. And it was so fun to see. And we ended up pulling off that win and getting the victory. And then yesterday against Cuba, I mean, it was a rout. But we talked about it last week, and you had not partaken in the.
No, I knew that we had a lot of Cardinals, especially on the American team, but some others too. And so I was, generally just kind of following to see how they did as a Cardinal fan. But a switch flipped yesterday when I was actually watching the game live. Because I think that matters, not just watching it in clips afterwards.
I do not know how people can consume a record.
I don't know either.
I'll look at the score and go, oh, okay. But not in clips.
Yeah, watching it live, and I think it was Goldie's home run because they were down 1-0 at the time. Watching him
at the beginning of the game
turn on that thing, I mean, it was inside and it exploded, and that all of a sudden, not only was I in, but my dad was like, "See." This has been a lot of fun. And he was talking about the Venezuela game, not necessarily in terms of how the game played out, but by the crowd.
Yeah.
He said the crowd was one of the craziest, most fun-looking things he'd ever seen in baseball. And I heard you play a clip at the beginning of the show about Adam Wainwright saying that same thing, that it was just wild and fun.
Let's listen to that clip again. I really loved the way he talked about this experience.
I keep fumbling for words when people ask me that. I've never had this much fun playing baseball in my entire life. I've never got to play for my country before, so I think that has a big reason behind why I'm having so much fun. Watching and listening to people chant USA the entire time you're playing baseball, that's a wild feeling, man. I've never had that before. Last night and tonight, two loudest crowds I've ever seen in baseball. I mean, it's just amazing what we're getting to be experiencing right now. My wife asked me who my favorite player on the team was last night, and I went through the entire roster, and I was like, oh, I love that guy. Oh, I love that guy. Oh, I love that. She goes, you love all the guys? I said, I love all the guys. I'm having a blast with all of them, and it's cool to rub shoulders with the best players in the world. Really feel like that's what we got here is a team full of the best players in the world, and you know, when you can watch them and their routines and talk to them about what they're thinking during situations, you can learn, and so you never stop learning, even if you're 41 years old.
Adam Wainwright, who was the starting pitcher, and they scored a run yesterday. Cuba scored a run before he had recorded an out, and he ended up coming back and really pitching a pretty solid, was it four and a third, 4 innings or whatever. And it's just great to hear him say, it's great to hear people chanting USA.
Do you remember when you were a kid?
Do you remember how to do this?
I don't remember how to do radio. I started talking without the mic on, like a stupid idiot.
He didn't have his mic off. He was holding the call.
I was holding the. I thought it was on, and I was letting it go. Do you remember when you were a kid watching the All-Star game, the Major League Baseball All-Star game? When I was a kid, that was an event. I wanted to see it every year because it was all of my favorite players, and you got to see them all on one field competing. That is gone. That feeling for the All-Star game doesn't exist anymore because they don't treat it as seriously as they used to. They don't compete real hard in it. They're all too worried about getting hurt, and it's just kind of a thing. This now, to me, is that. This is watching the All-Star game, but they're really trying, and they're all doing it just for the love of the game.
My wife said the exact same thing. She said, this is what the All-Star game should be.
Mm-hmm.
And it is amazing. Like, to me, some of the funnest things about this is, and I want to try to describe this to the people listening. If you're watching the World Baseball Classic, if you understand how the World Cup is celebrated by the fans and stuff like that with the chants and the cheers, and it's like, it's that plus World Series energy.
Yeah.
And baseball. So the Venezuelan fans, they have their own personality when they're cheering versus the USA. The Japanese fans have their own personality versus Cuba. It is the most fascinating thing to watch how different nations, different cultures do baseball. And then it also plays out in the way the players play the game. And then you get the players going out there, Arenado legging out a triple, taking the extra base, watching Mookie Betts do crazy things, Randy Arozarena for Team Mexico making amazing catches, giving everything for no other reason than
it's rare
country pride.
Yeah.
This is my team. These are my guys. I'm going out there. We're playing for our country.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I've enjoyed it a lot. As a St. Louis Cardinal fan who's been there, I've never been to a World Series game, but I was at the NLCS game in 2011 when we clinched. That was super excited. And I was at the National League Division Series game that year that we clinched. I think that went to 5. So it was like, I think 5 and game 5, and then the NLCS might have been a game 6. I'm not 100% sure. Oh man, that is such a rowdy, raucous scenario. Miami's got a stadium that has a roof that closes. That makes it a lot louder. And when I heard that, and Adam Wainwright saying that, I was like, oh, it's not a shot. I'm thinking, like, St. Louis should be louder. It's a lot harder to be loud. Like, if you were put in a dome, then I think back to the years that we would go to Rams games at the Edward Jones Dome and how deafening it could be when the team was, you'd have to kind of go back earlier in their time in St. Louis, but when the team was really competing and they were on defense and it was a big third down, that was loud. And you do that, you translate that kind of energy into Miami. I think it's great for Miami to see all this baseball there because they don't show up to support the Marlins. There are a lot of other things to do there. And you look at Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, who are potentially both going to face off against each other in the championship game if Japan wins over Mexico tonight. And the Angels have not been to the playoffs since 2014. Wow, they're like the two, if not the two best players in the entire outfit.
And giant payrolls.
Man.
Speaking of which.
Come to St. Louis. We'll try to get Colorado to pay for it for you. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show. We will answer the poll question on the air, and we want to know what you think. Who will be convicted of a crime first? President Trump, President Biden, or neither? You go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, and we broadcast live there every day. Let's get a whole crowd of people there and weighing in on this issue. Hannah, are you ready to read some of those comments when we come back?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Hannah's on it, and your results of that poll when we return. Don't go away.
I must admit, I can't explain any of these thoughts racing through my brain.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Jen Teskey with Remax Alliance is your teammate, your team captain to get that house sold on the Illinois side of the river. She is an expert, especially when it comes to Edwardsville, Glen Carbon, Maryville, Troy, and Collinsville, those surrounding areas, in understanding where the market is. She has a list of people looking to buy homes right now that are waiting maybe to buy your home. If you're even considering selling right now on the Illinois side of the river, you want somebody who is going to get the job done and get it done right, to take that anxiety and the pressure off of you, to make sure that the process is done correctly. Jen Teskey, T-E-S-K-E, Jen Teskey with Remax Alliance, 618-541-1010. You can call her or text her and just say, I heard about you on the Annie Frey Show. And then if you want to ask her some questions, she's going to love the fact that you've reached out to her, and you will start to see why so many people recommend Jen Teskey with Remax Alliance for their buying and selling needs on the Illinois side of the river. 618-541-1010. That's 618-541-1010.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
That's AMCO, AA, MCO.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet Store.
Hi, this is Arnold, owner of the Good Feet Store. Do you have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning because of a sharp pain in your heel?
I did. I had plantar fasciitis. I had a burning sensation on the bottom of my feet. I went to the Good Feet Store, and what a relief. And now I never go without my Good Feet support.
Are your knees and back killing you by the end of the day?
It was getting so severe I almost stopped walking. I have no problems with my knees now. I couldn't believe how fast it helped me.
You deserve a better life too. Come to the Good Feet Store today.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations, on Olive west of I-270 in the Plaza with Subway, or in Shiloh, Illinois across from Dearborg's.
Thanks to the Good Feet Store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Pain relief and comfort to fit any budget. Come in for a free test walk today. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA.
Hi, my name is Martin Winslow, founder and president of Bethlehem Christian Academy. Join us on our mission to be the hands and feet of Jesus and reach the nations with the gospel. Support BCA's ministry in transforming lives by feeding and educating poor and orphan children in some of the poorest places in Africa and South Asia. BCA's ministry not only provides physical bread to these hungry children, but also spiritual bread through the Word of God. Here's how you can help. For just $36 a month, you can offer these kids hope of a better future, but more importantly, give them the opportunity to learn about Christ. You can also join us on a mission trip to one of our several school locations overseas and meet the child you sponsor. To find out more about how you can get involved with BCA's ministry, please visit bcaministries.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. Let's vote for Ophthalmology Associates as best laser eye treatment in St. Louis Magazine's A-List competition. Online at stlmag.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Warmer days are coming. Time to schedule your annual AC system check for as little as $15 a month. For any residential or commercial HVAC services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Well, for the third week in a row, we take a field trip on Friday afternoon. It's Fish Fry Fridays. Come see us at C-Pop in Manchester.
Weekdays from 3 to 6. The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
I think it's so cute, and I think it's so sweet.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Well, let me stop you there. Oh, before you speak. To the no, no, no. My name is no. My sign is no. My number is no. You need to let it go. You need to let it go. Need to let it go. To the no, no, no.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We're glad you're here with us this afternoon. A reminder, if you're streaming us on the Odyssey app, you are being entered to win Guns N' Roses tickets. This is super cool. AUDACY. You download the Odyssey app. That's how you stream 97.1 FM Talk anywhere you go. Just simple, put it on your phone, and you can Bluetooth it to your car or whatever and take us with you. You can rewind it up to 24 hours from the time that you access the app. And for every hour you listen, you get access to an entry to see Guns N' Roses when they come to Busch Stadium. It's a pretty sweet and easy way to win tickets. Any of you guys like huge Guns N' Roses fans?
I know which songs they sing.
I don't.
Which is an upgrade from where you
I
were.
do too. Oh gosh, pour some sugar on me.
Mhm. Yeah, that's them.
That's what we were talking about.
Is it?
No.
No?
No, it's not them.
No, that's what Annie thought.
No, that was Hot for Teacher.
That was Van Halen.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
She thought a
but-
Van Halen song was Guns N' Roses.
Correct.
Yeah. Not Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Isn't that also a Van Halen song?
No, that's Def Leppard.
That's
Come on,
Def Leppard. Oh, that's
Why don't
right.
I know this.
Yeah,
You don't.
really.
This is why they don't give us a whole lot of information on this giveaway, so maybe we won't talk about
They
it.
just say Guns N' Roses. Don't say and.
Yeah.
Just say and
Sweet
then
Child of Mine.
that's them.
That's the one.
Welcome to the Jungle.
Those are the big ones.
Yeah, that one.
That's the easiest contest we could possibly come up with. You don't do anything. You log in, you stream the station, and you're just automatically entered. You don't have to do anything. It's pretty easy.
Most of the people, Paradise City was what I was thinking, and not when I said Poison. Same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Who did you say sings it? Poison.
Def Leppard.
Def Leppard.
Annie.
Def Leppard.
It's like I know all the words. I just don't know what order they go in.
Twisted Sister.
Get off me.
Tommy says, I hope Mark Cox isn't listening to
Oh,
this.
he's texting Ryan right now to talk about how crap I am on these things. Is he?
He will be. He'll tell me tomorrow morning.
I know it's not my strong suit. I've never claimed for it to be. I worked with KC for a decade.
Yep.
And sat very quietly in a lot of meetings. It was like, I don't know anything. It's the same way KC sat in the meetings where we were all together. We were talking about politics.
You know what's crazy is before 2016, that was probably true. After 2016, it was like you couldn't avoid it.
Oh, no.
Politics became sport.
No, not there. Not in the old place when stuff like that would come up. They just did what they did. It wasn't like that.
No, I mean, just as far as the average person having opinions on everything. After Donald Trump got in office, it was like you almost had to.
No, I don't think so. Not in that arena, at least, because those people knew that they had to adhere to what they needed to adhere to because people needed an escape from it. From crazy people like us. That are like, let's talk about it all day. And if you miss something, you can rewind it. You can listen to the podcast. You can subscribe to it wherever you go. You can watch it on the YouTube, blah, blah, blah. There's so much. Never get enough.
Well, somebody's got to watch out for all this stuff because otherwise nobody talk about it. Stupid mainstream media.
Everybody's talking about it.
It's our job.
Donald Trump's supposed to get arrested tomorrow. I don't know if that's still going to happen or not, but when that announcement came out, how do you feel about that?
Hannah?
You think it's going to happen?
No.
No? Okay.
No way.
I'll take it. That it really kind of shook the news up over the weekend. And, I'm skeptical as to whether or not it's going to actually take place as well. But it got me thinking, who will be convicted of a crime first? President Trump, President Biden, or neither? So it's our YouTube live chat poll for today on the Annie Frey YouTube channel in the live chat portion. Brian, who will be convicted of a crime first? Trump or President Biden or neither?
Donald Trump.
Convicted?
They will not stop until they get him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what I really believe that the whole point, and they don't even really care about the crime, obviously, or putting him in jail. They just want to get a mugshot of him.
Yeah.
They just want to get that so they can run it on repeat.
You can get a mugshot of somebody who's not convicted.
Well, okay, fine. You're right.
I think you're onto something.
I'm not.
Thank you, Brad.
Well, that's what we've been talking about through the whole show. Like,
Yeah.
and Hogan Gidley, again, you can rewind on the Honesty app.
That was a
12:25.
great interview.
Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting conversation.
I learned a lot.
But the entire process of every accusation that's been levied at Donald Trump, it's always about the process. It's never about the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because the outcome always sucks for the other side because they're wrong every stinking time. They're going to be wrong again.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they can say that Donald Trump has been impeached twice is what they wanted.
That's all I want.
The fact that people now still to this day think that he was colluding with Russia, that's what they wanted. What they want right now is, as we discussed before, and Ryan points out, they want the mugshot. They want the perp walk if they can get it. They want the idea of bringing Stormy Daniels back into the conversation. So what kind of president is out there paying porn stars for non-disclosures? I'm like, a lot of them?
Yeah.
This is not...
Well, now that you say it.
I know. It's not... I mean, maybe his big mistake... I'm not talking about morally. We're not talking about that. But his big mistake was working with Michael Cohen.
Isn't it amazing of all the political stuff and business stuff they've come after, the Stormy Daniels thing
It's got staying power.
just is a thorn in the man's side, as it probably should be.
All of the other things are not gone, though. There is no amount of disproving that Donald Trump can do to say he didn't do what they're accusing him of. They literally were saying last August that he was trading our nuclear secrets with classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. Do you know that John Bolton published a book that was meant to trash Donald Trump that had classified information in it, and the dude is still making money on the book? There are story after story after story about how people have done the same things that Donald Trump is being accused of doing right now. I don't know if he did it or not. I want an equal measuring tape. In fact, if Donald Trump goes down for this and it takes down everybody else who's doing the same thing, is that a net win for America?
I think so.
I don't even know. But it's just so disgusting to the average American person who knows, like Trump said, it's not him they're going after, it's you. Brad, what do you think? Who will be convicted of a crime first, Trump, Biden, or neither?
I'm a neither. Nobody's going down for anything.
Let's pretend I didn't say neither in there because I kind of regret doing it. I went back and forth.
Oh, it would be Trump before Biden because they've made up their mind. Everybody who hates Donald Trump has made up their mind that he is a criminal. Now all they got to do is find the crime to make it fit. It doesn't matter if he actually committed the crime or not, if he actually did what they said he did or not. In their mind, I mean, how many times have you been scrolling across Twitter and come across an angry Twitter person that's the Trump crime family?
Yeah.
Just follow Rob Reiner.
Yeah.
That's all you need to
all
do.
of this nonsense about it. And they've investigated him, like Hogan Gidley was saying, for 7 years. He said this is the culmination of 7 years. 7 years, they can't find a thing. So now they've got the DA of New York, a state prosecutor, trying to use a federal law that the federal prosecutor said, nah, there's not enough here. There's nothing here. This is a bad case. To throw cuffs on him to get a perp walk. If they convict anybody, it'll be Donald Trump, and it'll be because of where the case was held, and then it'll be overturned in an appeals process.
And all they'll get is the process.
And they'll be like, he was convicted.
The media coverage of the process.
Absolutely.
So you say neither.
Neither.
But absent neither, you would say Trump.
Trump.
I absolutely agree with Brad.
Yeah.
When I looked at this poll, I just... I had to laugh. I had to...
This rightly makes people mad. This kind of stuff. I think even people in the middle. That's why Hogan said, his poll numbers rose after Mar-a-Lago raid.
Do you want to see Joe Biden convicted of a crime?
I want to see him convicted. I was going to say, assuming he had committed a crime. At this point, there's so many bank records of the money that he's taken. I don't know if those things qualify as crime or if they're political crime. So I don't want him just to be convicted for no reason. I want him, if he committed a crime, then yes.
Do you have any part of your being that needs to see Joe Biden criminally charged?
No. I would rather just see him repent for his misgivings politically, which isn't going to happen.
Repent.
And then lose at the ballot box.
Do you, Brad, have any burning desire, big or small, to see Joe Biden go down in the legal flames?
My burning desire is to see that there was actually truly nothing there and everything was on the up and up. I don't want my president to be guilty of a crime, even if he is a member of the other party.
You want facts.
I want facts.
I do not have any. There's no part of me that wakes up in the morning or goes to bed at night thinking, could be the day that Joe Biden is in an orange jumpsuit sitting in a prison cell. Are there people who are like that? There probably are. But there is a whole cottage industry.
Oh, man.
For people who wake up in the morning with their first thought, go to sleep at night with their last thought about Donald Trump being in jail.
Yeah. Their thoughts are, man, I hate Merrick Garland. He has the power to do this, and he's not doing anything. They could have him in a jumpsuit because it's that image in their head. They want to be confirmed.
It's unbelievable. It's sick.
All right, today's YouTube live chat poll is asking who will be convicted of a crime first, President Trump, President Biden, or neither? With 195 votes, 63% of the people said neither Trump or Biden. 24% of the people said President Trump will be convicted of a crime first, and 13% of the people said President Biden will be convicted first. Patrick Fleer from YouTube said, I believe Biden has a better chance of being convicted of real charges. Trump might be falsely charged, though. Chris says Trump will be convicted and then pardoned. Katie Matthews says, it's hard to imagine that either of them will be convicted of a crime, no matter how much evidence is presented against them. Too much pressure on the judge and or the jury that is in that situation.
Interesting. Well, I look at it and I think in my naive, like, yay, America, USA, USA. Maybe during this election, we'll just get a Republican that really represents the policies that the conservatives want to have represented, and the Democrats will get someone that really represents the progressive policies, and obviously the Republicans will win because it's way better than the left, and then we'll rise above, and we'll be a whole country again, chanting USA, USA every morning. Yay.
You've been watching too much World Baseball Classic and eating too much apple pie.
Yeah, I haven't eaten any apple pie. But I have had some of these twisted pretzels.
Close enough.
Mark Reardon Show coming up next.
With the Wholesale Formula Seminar, discover how to start your own Amazon business.
Hi, Ian Bauer. My first year averaged $45,000 a month in sales. Now I'm at $90,000 a month and hardly working.
Hi, I'm Amy Sherlock. I attended the Wholesale Formula Seminar, and I'm now doing $175,000